good evening, hello, and welcome to a very, very different kind of Wednesday stream. Normally, we're the Ashe and Shade Committee. Unfortunately, we're short too.
We're the Ashe and Shade Committee.
Yeah, that's really it. Honestly,
That's
like,
it.
this is the Ashe and Shade. Honestly, if I turned off my camera, it'd be the Ashe and Shade Committee at like 90% power. Like, let's be real.
Wait, no, if I turned off my cam.
No. I'm the bad guy. I'm
No,
in charge.
you.
No,
No,
please, no, you.
No, you. We're off to a great start.
Oh God.
God,
So yeah,
give me the dopamine.
yeah, that's why we're here. We're here today in the desperate search. The true adventure here is to find the dopamine, find the good dings. And for those of you who have not played Powerwash Simulator, oh boy,
Welcome.
this is purely for us. Like, this was like we
This
found out we'd be short a human, and Rachel and I were
Wow,
like,
an excuse to play Powerwash.
what do we do? Do we do a
'Cause we
one
haven't done
shot?
that together.
Do we do backup characters? Do we do artifact again? And it was like, life is hard. So
It's Powerwashed.
let's just clean stuff. Because it's a dirty, dirty world out there, and we're here to fix
Someone
it.
still hasn't picked up Stardew.
That game scares me somewhat legitimately. There is so much to do, and yes, it's supposed to be chill vibes. But like, I have things I have to make all these people happy. It's the people pleaser in me that I'm worried about. I want all
you
these
just
people
ignore
to
them.
like me and be my friends, and I have to run a
We've got
successful
years
farm
to
because my
do that.
grandfather like left it to me in his will. It's a mess. It's
They'll
a
like
mess.
you
in
if you
here.
do your farm fine. So, just prioritize one thing and then
Just
the
like
rest will
a
fall
farm
in line.
perfectly. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is gonna be what it is. All right. So
We're doing great.
yeah. So today the theme is follow the dopamine, and this is not sponsored in any way by Powerwash Simulator. We just really like it. So,
Dungeons and Dragons and Dings and Dopamine.
Dings and Dopamine. Yeah, that's also entirely Rachel's idea for the title because it was great. It was glorious and I loved it. So, let me boot this thing up here.
Right. Yeah, what are we, Oh my goodness, you're now playing Powerwash Simulator.
I am in fact
According to my
now
Steam.
playing Powerwash Simulator.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna.
And by the way, chat, if you got questions for us about D&D, if you're new to our stream and you want to know what we do here on the Ashe and Shade Committee,
or if
or
you
on
have
the channel
very,
itself.
very pointed, specific questions about the Ashe and Shade Committee,
we are
please.
here to answer them.
please.
We don't know how well we will answer them, but we will answer them. There's a chance it could go poorly, but we'll figure it out.
Also, yes, my screen looks funky. It's because I play in ultra wide mode like a savage.
Hold on, I gotta. You told me this, and now I gotta see. Now I gotta check out the stream. It doesn't look.
It's
Doesn't look
it's
that
the
bad.
like the tablet is supposed to fill the whole thing. It does not. All right.
Looks fine to me.
Careers. Once a job is started, join the player's co-op game.
Yeah.
It says you're not playing, Rachel.
What? Filthy liars! I am here. Hold on a minute. My co-op off. Do you want? let's
Oh,
see.
beautiful. An invite.
An invite.
Steam noise.
So our benevolent DM Curtis has chased the power wash life. I am behind in the updates.
I have played far too much of this game.
I have been absorbed by other games and their updates lately. So we are we'll start here. And if you have a specific level you want to see us tackle, go for it. Curtis has played all of them. I have not, but I've played a lot of them.
This is the late night dopamine chaser for me.
Yeah.
This will take several minutes to load in all this dirt, which means it will
Yeah.
take several more minutes to make it all go away. But yeah, this game I think came out during the pandemic, if I remember correctly.
I don't know. Maybe it was in early access then. I think full release was last year.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da. 20. Wow. Yeah, full release was 2022. You're right.
I know this.
You know things. You're smart. But yeah, and they've started doing like special releases. So like this one, the level I think we're loading into is a Lara Croft. Like they teamed up with like Square Enix and folks. So there's a whole bunch of Lara Croft stuff in there. They did a whole bunch of Final Fantasy stuff.
I haven't finished that one either. So
the Final Fantasy, there's one of the bikes has a whole bunch of spikes on the front, and you just like take your sweeper across it, and it just like it dings. It's so many dings.
Oh my gosh! Ding 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 ding.
And then it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, the robots in that one are fun to clean. And then they just added.
Oh yeah, how was the solar farm?
Oh, the solar farm. Oh, it's so much. it's on par with the golf course, as far as just like square footage. But
gotcha.
It's like the last one I was watching and listening. I was watching and listening to stuff while it was rolling. So, loading dirt. The dirt is loaded.
Yay! There's a lot of it.
Where are you? Oh, there you are.
I am. Hi.
Rude. Hurtful.
Was it? Oh God.
This is fine. This is fine.
Was it you that we were trying to figure out how if we could go down the helter skelter?
Yes.
With just the power.
Yes. Okay. Do you want to? Where do you want to clean? What are you feeling? Do you want to do more big? Do you want big objects? Do you want small objects?
What you do? You chase your dopamine. I'm just in this little corner.
You can't make your own dopamine. Store-bought is fine.
Store-bought is fine.
Oh, there's only one ladder. We're gonna have to fight over this ladder.
That's fine. I do my very. This is my method, honestly. We jump.
Oh, that's true.
Fan. Jump and fan. I can make this happen.
Oh, I can't quite reach that far, but I can clean this light. Also, we are.
There you are.
Oh God! Oh, that's all the dirt. That's so much dirt. But
only dirt.
It's all. That has to exist.
That has to.
A ding. Sorry. I heard.
I know. I just got one too.
My heart. Also, it dings. Apparently, it dings for me.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
So tell if you're not pulling your weight.
Second. Excuse you. Excuse you. This is how we're playing it tonight?
I gotta get the dopamine before I feel better.
Yeah, okay. Fine. I'll let it slide for now. And I'm gonna quick check chat, see if there's any questions for us. Let's see who's here. Yeah. Any questions for us? Hello, Khaled. Any questions for our characters, the game, our channel? Send them our way. We'll be checking chat. And Curtis, any questions come to mind about what's going on?
I have a few because I'm like.
Ooh. Okay. Let's start with the DM question.
I was gonna say, do you want to go? Let's do. There we go. Boy, it's gonna be really hard to ask questions.
I know.
Khaled's got one. Favorite moment from hanging out in Yanti's lair for
favorite moment.
Yours
wow,
or watching
that is a good question. That is a great question. We talked about this a lot after. I think it was an episode where it was just Thalia and Ronan, and we were split up, as tends to be the usual these days.
Listen, just because Josh makes a lot of money doing work at weird hours.
Yeah.
Bastard.
And it was the one where Thalia was talking with the universe and checking out that artifact room, and Ronan was talking or like having his battle with Tannel. And we talked a lot about like that was one of the few moments where oh god, ladder suddenly just appeared in my vision.
But like the moment ladders? Hold on.
Yeah.
Spooky ghost ladders. Anyway.
Spooky ghost ladders. That we talked. That was one of the first nights in a while that we've all pictured the same thing happening, like when Ronan was kneeling down in front of the swords on the wall, and also when Thalia was like holding stuff and just starting to like commune with the universe. And we all were like, we 100% want fan art of those two moments from that episode, because we both like picture them so clearly in our heads for our characters, and it's been a long time since we've been able to do that and have the same vision. So that was, I think, one of my favorite moments from Yahtze's. I almost said Yahtzee. That was one of my favorite moments from Yahtze's, was that episode of Ronan and Thalia having that time to just think about everything that's bigger. Yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes in a long time.
That was yeah, you were 100% correct. Like, we talked about that episode.
I think we talked for like an extra hour.
It was like an hour
right
after we recorded.
Yeah,
after
we like
we
could not stop talking about how much we wanted fan art from that episode. So maybe I do this fan art. Maybe I do fan art. We got an episode.
That's in the
Great
hopper
question.
that's in a hopper to get uploaded to YouTube, because we have they're getting edited faster. Now I just need to get them up on YouTube faster.
Yeah, Strangely Bright, thanks for subscribing.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you for the Bezos bucks. Take that bald man's money. I will hold you to that. I'll hold you to that there, Callus, for the fan art.
What?
Happen.
Oh my god. Yes. Yes, Callus, please.
So I've derailed. That completely derailed my train of thought.
Also, I want my Starlight Eyes now. Thank you.
You're what?
Did we talk about that? Did we talk about that?
Did we talk about that?
Yeah, like right after that episode, I was like, can my eyes be like
yes, we did. Yeah, we
wonky
did.
now, or like a little bit super sparkly special, because I now just communicate with like the forces of the universe.
I just reached out my consciousness to the universe, and the universe was like, sup.
Yeah, I feel like that leaves me a changed person.
A little.
Look, if like,
considering the rest of the stuff I haven't done, the rest of the terrible things that have happened to you.
Yeah, I would like my super anime pretty eyes, thanks.
Oh, that's a terrifying mental image. We'll have to change the emote to get like weeb eye, like the
no. Okay, I misspoke. I want my super pretty. No, I want my super pretty eyes with little specks of stardust in them now. Thanks.
Kind of on that note, is there a favorite and least favorite NPC, or like an NPC that you want to know more about, and one that you... Let's do that. What's an NPC you want to know more about?
I want to know more about.
Because I have a good idea on some of the NPCs that you just like you either hate or lack all empathy. You just do not care about it.
We've talked about that one. We'll go over that in a second for the chat. NPCs I want to know more about. That's a good one. Atronics. I think he's fascinating. Like, I think he's a super cool character that in some ways reminds me of one of my professors in college, because that professor was like so humble and so genuine and honest, and you're like, he never talked about himself, and you're like, wait, you're this super smart dude, and we like never got to see him like show off how awesome he was. So like that, sometimes Atronics gives me those vibes, which at the wedding when he pulled off that big 9th level, I was like, oh,
9th level dispel magic, no thank you.
I was like, hello, there he is. I would love to know more about Atronics personally.
Okay.
I'm sure the boys are the exact opposite. They're probably like, yeah, screw him.
I guess the dick wizard.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you want to go into your least favorite character, or do you want to answer?
Yes. My least favorite character, and Curtis knows this because we've talked a couple times. Sidebar. My least favorite character is Ozzy. Recently, he was my least favorite NPC in recent history. I don't know if it's the accent. I don't know if it's the characterization, but he just drives me up a wall. I'm like, okay, can we get away from this character yet?
Please
Like,
make him stop talking.
Please, for the love of God, can I get away from this character? And I know like the boys love Ozzy. Every time they're like, Ozzy's back. I'm like, oh my God, get him off of the screen. I need to leave the situation right now.
I think the last time I brought him in, I literally watched you roll your eyes. And I was like, oh no.
You watched the light just go out from my eyes. I'm pretty sure. I could not contain. I could not contain my disgust. I was just like,
I would be very curious to if you run into him again, because he will be very different from how you have met him, and I'm very curious to see.
Yeah, I didn't mind him as much the first time we ran into him. I was like, okay, this is kind of a funny thing. And then you brought him back, and I'm like, no, leave him be. Leave him where we left him, and he was absolutely fine. Like, no, when he left his little river bridge, I was like, absolutely not.
The bit character doesn't. The bit character doesn't need a story arc.
Correct. I was like, let some NPCs die, metaphorically.
Also, I'm going to turn off that content warning because I don't think this game is going to be set in a dystopian future, but it might be.
I mean, spoilers, Curtis. Storyline of Powerwash.
Only if we go into the Final Fantasy one.
No, the final few washes. Like, come on, dude, spoilers.
Yeah, dystopian cyberpunk. Listen, if Powerwash goes cyberpunk, I'm here for it.
Yeah, fair enough.
But Callus has a very good question.
Ooh, double ding!
Oh God, somebody dings. Help. But Callus is a good question. How much do you feel your character has changed since we first started? Because we haven't really gotten to talk about how you came in to Ashe.
Okay, well, before we get to that, there's also another great question, Curtis. While we're talking about NPCs,
no,
Curtis,
we're deflecting. We're deflecting.
No. I've answered two now. Your turn. Curtis, who is your favorite NPC to play? Then, thanks, Callus. Thank you for giving me a question to bother.
Favorite NPC. That's a really good question, though, because, like...
Would it help to break it down season by season?
No, because I can't remember who's in what season.
I can help with that.
I love...
That's good.
Honestly, Magnus, the Captain Pink Plume.
Oh, Pink Plume.
Genuinely one of just, like...
Just made a reappearance.
He's a good old British boy, like... And there's just something about, like... doing that and immediately just like I get jowls and mutton, like gray mutton chops, and I want to sell pig iron and like send the boys off to war, and like full like World War I British business person, and I can't undo that image in my head, and it's just a lot of fun to do. Yati and Tanel recently are a really interesting pairing because Yati is this very flamboyant, very forward individual, and Tanel is not necessarily the power behind the throne, but like he is he's a man who is loved and lost and has found someone that he truly genuinely cares about, that can, like, they've been together for thousands of years. Like, I don't want to put a hard date on how long they've been around, but like most of your recent recorded history, they've been hanging out for.
And they were roommates for.
Yes, did great, the best of friends. Like Achilles and Patrol. My Greek is failing me today. Achilles and his boyfriend. Like, all right. They are that pair, and it's so nice to sort of play them as these opposites that love each other fiercely, but will also call each other out on their nonsense. And understanding, loving each other because of their flaws, not in spite of. Because that's a King Killer Chronicles quote that I absolutely love. It's like, anyone can love a thing because that's as easy as putting a penny in your pocket. But to love a thing despite, to see its flaws and love it unconditionally is much harder and much longer lasting. The ending, I've completely borked it. Actually, that's in one of the books I've done for officiating weddings, because the bride and groom wanted that quote. But and like the third one, it would basically be any character that I can do that gets under your skin, yours or Chris especially. Leshy, just this Brooklyn guy behind a wall, and I've never seen Chris want to reach through the screen and throttle me more as a person.
Oh my god, wait, Leshy was
in also, hi, Midnight Skyline. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the... Yes, he was after you guys killed off all of Keldar's boys, and Keldar himself, and you guys went back to the fortress. He was the guy who basically negotiated.
He was
He was the mercenary who was like, "Listen, we'll leave. I just don't want to get shanked by Grandma with a knitting needle." And Chris was like, "Oh, you don't want to get shanked by Grandma with a knitting needle?" Who goes, "No, that'll kill me, and I'm not a fan."
And we now have the druid sect of Circle of the Knit.
Oh yeah, the
Circle of Knitting.
Yeah, just the knitting circle subclass of druid.
Yeah. Circle of Grannies.
Circle of the Stitch.
Oh, right. That's what
something
we named
like that. We had some cutesy name for it.
We did. It was great.
But yeah, like any character that gets a reaction out of people is great. And personally, I love, because y'all are usually very stone-faced.
Yeah.
And part of that's because we're playing on screens, and it's one of those where like your face just kind of goes neutral when you're listening and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's really hard. I talk a lot, and my face is constantly moving, and it's interesting to look at. But having when I get a response from you, like you especially, when I get like a gasp or I see you just like your eyes get wide and the pen comes out and you're like, I'm like, yes, I did it. Yes. Also, I want so badly to like, and that's why I'm glad currently Josh and Chris are off on their own little adventure. Because after the recent events, I want to see how they fare without the great note taker in the room with them.
I know.
Which is just a little bit of schadenfreude for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Callus has asked you 2 other questions, in addition to the how your character has changed from the beginning of the campaign, and the new one, what are your current theories on the conspiracy board, which is its own that's its own stream. This is a chill stream.
I will show off the conspiracy theory board because I have not updated it in 2 weeks, because I've been busy. Oh my god, this is hilarious. Hellfire comes on my playlist to play right now.
Yeah, I'm listening to something way more chill.
Yeah,
I don't even know if the audience can hear.
I'm listening to the Hunchback of Notre Dame original Broadway cast right now.
Good choices.
So, yeah, wildly different. I was gonna ask you that later, what music you were listening to. So how has Thalia changed? And the second question was the board. Okay, how has Thalia changed since we started this almost 4 years ago, which blows my mind. We were talking about that the other night too, Curtis.
I hate it.
4 years. Wow. So, hilariously, I was not supposed to be part of this campaign, really. I was going to be a guest player for an episode here and there. Chris had told me about this fun D&D game that they were running, or that his buddy was running, and was like, hey, do you want to give it a try? I know you like D&D, you're watching it a lot, starting Critical Role, all that good stuff. And I said, sure, I'll give it a try. And so we designed my character. we designed Thalia to be this researcher who would pop in and out every now and then to help the party. And we hadn't quite figured out the teleporty thing, but we were working on it. And she'd just pop in and out and help out, and then disappear. And she was Ronan's friend from a past couple jobs. And I worked nights at that time, and my boss, when we were doing scheduling, she was like, "Oh, you play D&D? I love D&D. Here, you can. Oh, we'll try our best to give you Wednesday night or Thursday nights at the time. We'll try our best to give you Thursday nights off." And I was like, "What?" So, when I was supposed to just be this in and out character whose only backstory was that she was Ronan's friend, from a previous job, has turned into this beautiful lore bard who is so complex. And I mean, when I designed her, she was hell-bent on the truth a lot, and she wouldn't hide anything, and she would go seek out the truth a lot, which hasn't changed a ton. But as I was talking more with Curtis, when we realized I was going to stay on as a main player, he was like, no, you gotta flesh this out. And I was like, what? How do I do that? And in talking with him, we talked about, is there ever a time where she realized that the truth isn't as maybe is supposed to be hidden, which we've been exploring in campaign ever since. And it's very interesting right now with the whole hidden war and the abridgment. Her making some decisions about when to tell the boys the truth and when to hide some things or play her cards tight to her chest, which is a lot. But still advocating for truth and asking these bigger forces some pretty big questions. So it's, to me, the biggest thing has been that she just she wasn't supposed to be this big character. She was just supposed to appear every now and then, and now she's this my beautiful baby bard who I'm so proud of. And I continually can't wait to see where she goes. She surprises me a lot. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was in season 2. There's something she did that I was so mad at her. One of those moments where I actually understood what D&D players were talking about, where their characters do things you don't want them to. And I had that moment around season 2, and I was like, oh, she's her own person now, not just this thing I created. She truly is her own person right now, which is pretty epic.
I would love to hear what that moment is, because
I'm trying to remember.
I'll ask coordinator when, because we have somebody editing all of season 2 to put it up. Also, going back and rewatching those earlier episodes is a little cringy. I want to go back and remaster them and put them on an overlay, because it was just it was just a black Discord screen we were recording, because we were like, yeah, this will work.
I also didn't have video for the first 3 months.
Yeah.
4 months? 5 months, 6 months. I didn't have video for it with you guys. So that was another interesting crazy moment, was that my computer at the time when I started would explode if I tried to look at anyone's video or if I tried to run video, because I was running on a potato. And so most of the first time I was having these crazy facial reactions, and no one could see me reacting, all the boys doing weird crap. And once I finally got a better setup, my current setup, everyone was like, how long have you been making these faces? And I was like, the entire time. So I was very expressive at the beginning, and I've kind of calmed it down a little bit, trying to hide some things that I know. But I don't know if that's been a change or not, but I definitely remember everyone being super surprised when I turned my face cam on and they saw what stupid faces.
There's so much emoting happening.
Yeah.
Also, hi Stevie. Hope your trains went well. Yeah, we're just vibing. This is a chill vibe. Sort of cleanup stream, because the dopamine has been scarce recently, and we had to manufacture our own, so we're power washing.
All right, Cal's, hope that answered your question. If any more, I love talking about my beautiful baby girl. I'm a little sad because, to be spoiler alert, I'm considering parking her for a little bit if the boys keep going on their road.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to talk? Do you want to dive into that a little bit?
I don't know. Maybe see if Chris shows up. Maybe see that for a little bit later.
Okay,
Um,
we'll see. We'll see if he
but
appears.
yeah, that is consideration. So as much as I love her, I'm currently trying to figure out. I love talking about her and
What
how
was that
much.
you say? Let NPCs die. Let some NPCs die.
Good luck, you son of a gun.
That's very true.
Um,
She is. I've never. I love getting when I give out a level up and I'm like, go play, my friends. And Rachel comes back and goes, so I picked up meta magic, and I go,
Meta magic adept.
okay.
And you're like, why'd you do that? And I was like, so I can distance spell revivify
I
people,
want to get.
and I can now revivify from 30 feet away instead of touching them, making it thus harder to kill us. And he was like, I think I stunned Curtis for a moment when I saw that message.
Because I like that was a moment where I was like, oh, I've really like, this is the world that I've introduced y'all to, where like my best efforts to put you down, one, don't stick, but also like some of those fights having that like, oh, I can get you, I can res you from a distance, and I'm like, okay, cool, that I love that. I love that strategy, because that has always been sort of how the group dynamic works, is we've got our two beefy boys in the front,
Then
and
the girl in the back.
and even when we had, like, with the exception of Robbie, who was a bruiser,
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
bruiser warlock was not what I expected that character to turn into.
There's a lot of things no one expected, Robbie.
Yeah,
That's a different conversation.
that is a very different conversation.
We'll get back. We'll put a pin in that.
Um,
Keep us on this chat.
but yeah, we'll come back. We'll definitely come back to the conspiracy theory board,
Yeah.
because that's another thing where I was like, oh, my players are like invested. Like, my players are trying to keep track of what's going on in this game. That's really cool, because normally, like, when we play, I'm the guy, right? I'm the one I'm the note taker. Like, you,
Yeah.
I fill a very, very similar niche that you do. And so that you're like, I'm taking all these notes and keeping, honestly, better notes than I am a lot of the time.
I've started taking less notes. If it's not in her character, especially since we're split right now, I'm taking a lot less notes. Some of the main points from the boys' adventures, but anyway, this is off topic. We were on a different question.
Talking about the conspiracy theory board.
Nope, before that.
Just how the
Before
characters
that.
have changed.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Oh, building Thalia's build right now is pretty
yes.
wild.
Yeah.
I also imagined her more as a combat bard, more combat spells, and she is absolutely turned into support, which has been hilariously wild. And my bonkers perception is another one of my favorite things.
Your bonkers perception.
Passive perception 21.
Yeah.
You know, because all bards need that.
Also, you are the least horny on main bard I have ever played with, which honestly, I'm here for.
That was another one of my goals. I wanted her to be combat focused and not horny, and one of those things came true.
I'm trying to think of how the other characters have changed. And, like, if Chris joins us, he can talk more about it.
Yeah.
Josh as Lami. Because Josh was going sort of back to the origins of this game. Way back, the long, distant year of 2019.
The old 2019.
You know, when I could... I don't know. I don't know what I could do in 2019, because it was 1,000 years ago.
No, it's an entire pandemic ago.
Which might as well be 1,000 years. When Chris was like, I want to try this Dungeons & Dragons game, Josh went, Curtis needs to run this. And Chris has said this on a couple of other places, because I used to work with Josh, and we would on Sundays get together with a couple of the guys that we worked with in the kitchen, and a couple of other folks, and get together, order a pizza from our job. So someone would go in, say hi to work, we'd pick up our paychecks, come home, or go to Josh's and play D&D. And so when Chris was like, I want to learn to play D&D, Josh went, he like Curtis is the guy. Curtis should run this because he'd be great at it. And Josh is one of those D&D players who wants bad things to happen to their characters.
Oh, absolutely.
Josh like does off the wall wild things and is totally down for me to do terrible things to Lami, which as a DM is both unbelievably thrilling, freeing and thrilling, and also absolutely stressful because oh god,
You gotta top that.
I have to like
come up with something bad.
What do I do to Josh's character? And so like, because yeah, he started out as this like a paladin doing paladin things.
Him
Sorry,
becoming a warlock, that reveal was, I will remember that one.
Dude,
that was
how do
wild.
you remember this reveal? Tell me
I
how
just
you
remember
this.
being like the whole Eldritch Blast thing, like everyone being like, try saying Eldritch Blast, and he was like, Eldritch Blast, and they kept mispronouncing it. And we're like, no, he's absolutely a warlock, and he kept mispronouncing it, so we're like, okay, no, maybe, and then he said it right, and it went off, and we're like, oh my god.
That was, that was our first in-person session. The first time we had gotten everybody together. We got
the first time we met y'all.
We got an Airbnb in the Poconos somewhere, and like we rolling in with that much like recording equipment. In hindsight, was probably real weird for the neighbors.
Yeah.
But yeah, we played D&D and recorded a couple of sessions.
We had like a 6-hour session. We went like 6 to midnight that night.
Yeah, we did.
As all good in-person D&D, I'm told, works.
But like it was a wood paneled basement. Like we lived the nerd. Maybe not dream. Dream is a strong word. I would have preferred it to be a little less musty.
Beggars can't be
choosers. Less bugs. But overall, like it was just like this is the D&D I'm here to play. And yeah, Josh hit me with that, and I was like, Josh, what happens?
He did?
I didn't know when the session started that he was gonna go warlock. I was like, Josh is doing this bit, and he says it, and so I went, Josh, tell me what happens. And I was like, go on, whatever you do, we're going. And that's because I've played with him enough that I'm like, all right, motherfucker, I'm calling your bluff. Tell me what you want your character to do. How do you want to swing this? And he was like, I'm going to Eldritch Blast. I'm like, great, swap a level, we're going. And he's like, oh, okay, great.
I had no idea that was his idea. But it also makes sense.
And that's like, Josh will always do the narrative choice. And I love that for him.
Yeah.
And so like because he started to lose levels in Paladin and gain levels in Warlock, because this might be a D&D hot take that I know I've talked about on other episodes of Chance of TBD. Warlocks and Paladins, and honestly kind of clerics, are all different relationships with a higher power, and those lines can be blurry, right?
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
So the difference between, praising somebody and worshiping them and giving them a transaction, and because the warlocks are traditionally a transactional power where they've traded something away or been gifted this power with an expectation. Paladins are doing it because they believe in it, and clerics and paladins are kind of just different expressions of that manifestation of power. So how can you blur those lines and make those really interesting? Well, once the paladin who worships this god realizes that it's not a god at all, it's an entity he doesn't fully understand but has taken an interest in him. It's a blue corn tortilla who is like, hi, I raised you from the dead to serve me, and if you're not going to serve me anymore, you don't get all the cool perks. I'll keep you alive, because Yeva is not going to throw away a tool that she has crafted, because you never know when a tool will be useful again. But he lost his powers because he had refused the axe. He had refused the last call.
Sorry. Floordang, sorry.
Oh, floor dang.
Floordang.
That was a big floor dang.
Big
I
one.
feel bad I missed it. I'm just working on the ceiling. Everyone's like, people are like, what an exciting ceiling we have in this room. Never mind the T-Rex I'm standing on to clean it. Grab that from across the room so I can finish this piece of ceiling. Yeah, so like that was a conversation I had with Josh about like hey, if you lose your powers, like are you cool with losing your powers? Are you cool with losing literally everything your character has been known to do up to this point? And he went 100%. Make it cool. And I went, I'll do my best. Because yeah, Lamy doesn't want the axe. Lamy doesn't want the power to shoot. He doesn't want to make it. He does not. He's refusing to make the choice that Yeva has chosen him to make, and he doesn't want to make it. So she's like, "Fine, if you won't make it, someone else will." And she rescinded her gifts at a slightly inconvenient time. But why would you lose powers at a convenient time? It's less exciting and dramatic that way.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, I kind of get what, you were saying about Josh about do bad things to, the characters we have. Because part of me genuinely wants to know what would happen if Thalia died.
I would cry.
Yeah, or what would happen if like she gets snapped up to the Celestial Realm, or she like, I'm genuinely curious, a little curious about how that would happen.
Like to her character, or
yes.
Let me see if this. Hold on, I'm checking to see if the ceiling is done. I think it is.
Although Callus is saying in chat, if you do anything to Thalia, he will riot, or they will riot.
Listen, we would all cry. It would be a very sad moment because guess what? Thalia is the only one who could bring people back at the moment.
I know. That's like genuinely why I'm like, how far will the rest of the party go? What direction would the party? Because lately, until, we had Ronan in Eastov and Lamy a little bit in Kondo. The boys were following Robbie, myself, anyone else. They were following for the most part. So up until lately, they've been listening a lot more to Thalia, so I've always been curious what would happen if that voice was gone.
What? There's a box over here. I'm cleaning the box.
Hold on a minute. Sorry, excuse me.
Hang on.
Nope. This is just me.
This is what happens when we get paid by the hour. It's fine.
Anyway, back to, oh god, you made me switch away from my yellow nozzle. Excuse you.
No, listen, once they release this like three
I know, you
nozzle,
tried it.
I can't go back.
Yellow gang.
No, because like single red is too narrow. Honestly, it's yellow for anything that's super loose and easy to clean.
Anyway, but yeah, I would be very interested to see what would happen and what lengths, what direction the party would go in. Especially also now that we have a lot less voices in the party. It's a smaller party. I think when it was bigger, they would, pick up, move on. And also because I would be curious to see what Ronan would do because our characters are best friends in game.
Right.
So I would be very curious to, and same with like, the whole thing in Eastov where he was dying, I was freaking out. And which is why I picked up that reviv from a distance eventually, is because like I realized just how panicked Thalia was, and I was like, oh my god, she would absolutely.
For which fight? For the actual Keldar fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was absolutely freaked out when he was dying at the end of the Keldar fight. And pretty helpless to do anything about it because the earthquake was, she couldn't get any closer. And so natural result, because of that panic I felt in the game is how I picked up the meta magic and distance reviv, because like that she absolutely would have researched that because she never wanted to feel that helpless feeling again. So I think I saw Cal had another question. Chat. Let me flip back.
Your side of the and this is a moment that Callus and I have chatted about off stream, or it's in sidebars. The shirt snap when you gave your memory for Yati.
Yes.
What was kind of running through your brain when, like, where, just your side of that decision and why you thought of that?
So if you didn't know, Thalia is a lore bard and very into keeping records, which plays into like why I have such good notes is because she's a lore bard. She needs to have this information, for whether for herself or for history, and getting. I knew in her brain, memories are almost like a currency, to a degree. Knowledge is a currency to her. And memories are part of that. So when she figured out what Yati's deal was with memories and with knowledge, she had a feeling that she would have to give up some knowledge in return to gain, which she was fine with. Like that, again, it's currency to her. She gets that exchange. That's totally valid and normal in her brain, which it's come up a couple times now. And so, just a clarifying question, Gals, are you talking about what memory she had? Like, how did it go? What was she envisioning after the shirt snap, or like what brought her to that decision?
Also, hello, Klaus Hand. Welcome to the ruckus.
Klaus is here
the very mild ruckus of today, which is us talking about D&D characters and the Ashe and Shade Committee, and also power washing things because we need the dopamine. Just gonna slug my way under this table to clean it. But yeah, no, this patch over here. What am I doing?
Failure on you, and dishonor on you, on your femme, on your cow. Come on, please.
It felt like such a cinematic moment for me. I'm just like happy with whatever you want to tell me about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. So, and this is probably stuff that isn't up on the stream yet. I think probably in the editing backlog.
It's all uploaded. I just need to put
So
the, like,
yeah,
Thalia's
half celestial. She's an Aesmere, and born on this like really awesome island, kind of a mix between like Scotland and Hawaii. It's kind of how I envision it, and that whole corner of her universe is kind of where I took inspiration from, and like her mom was a stay-at-home mom, and so thinking about it, I was like, okay, what would she see? What would she be like? And part of it would be like, yeah, she probably saw these memories. Like as a kid, she was just watching her mom do laundry and cooking and playing with her and telling her stories and everything. So the reason I picked the shirt snap is because like that's kind of that whole romantic, like someone coming home seeing, you know, their partner like being domestic and everything like that. And so I kind of picked that idea of just what would be just a normal moment in this crazy love story between a celestial and a human, and just finding something so peaceful and quiet and simple and normal as the start of this beautiful love story and this unusual and rare love story. I really picked the shirt snap just to kind of show off the specialness of her parents' backstory. So yeah, I surprised myself with that. Again, that's something like Thali was talking. I was like, oh my god, I love what I'm saying. Where is this
Love all
coming
these
from?
words.
Wow, I have feelings because of what I did. But like I don't remember much of it. Okay, I think I got. No. What is doing? Oh.
Also, for folks watching the stream, if the music is too loud or you want any of the levels tweaked at all, please let me know, because I'm kind of winging this. Because yeah, this was after, like, because we did Artifact, and I was like, well, I've got all these other like solo RPGs on the shelf behind me. I was like, oh, we could do like Microscope. We could do. Honestly, I want to play Bucket of Bolts at some point, but that's a sci-fi game. Similar vein, any moments from the boys that you were especially proud of from your fellow players?
A lot of them. A lot of them. I have so many moments I'm proud of the boys. This is and Curtis, I like encourage you to also answer this one. Because you want, I mean, proud of your players sort of thing.
Yeah. Because yeah, my in not necessarily competition with how a lot of folks run their D&D games. I want y'all to do cool stuff, and I'm here to make it cool, and add stakes to it. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, as evidenced by the longbow incident of season 2, that still haunts me to this day. Not even just in the joke, but like to the point where I was talking with somebody, Druidic Dice, aka the RPG Goblin. I've been on her podcast a couple of times, and we're gonna do an episode called "Mistakes I've Made Playing TTRPGs" or running games. And
oh no!
You bet your ass it's gonna come up.
Is the boat gonna come up?
Yes. Oh, 100%. The boat is a cluster. But we learn from these clusters. But anyway,
yeah, 100%.
If you want to take a breather and think about moments for you, I can think of one or two for Chris
go
and
for
company.
I'm gonna grab a drink here.
Chris in particular, I love as someone, because you would not know that he started playing D&D with us at this point. He has grown so much as a player that he continues to impress me, continues to surprise me. I think one of my favorite moments is when it's kind of a combined moment with the two of you.
Okay. I'm curious.
It's a couple of moments, and a lot of them were season 2.
Okay.
Because that was sort of Ronan was driving that proverbial bus.
That was season 2 and 3.
Yeah,
or in 4 right now.
With a lot of the Eastov stuff, like going up to Eastov and killing off Keldar's lieutenants and being like, here are the dudes, and Ronan, again, doing the thing that makes the situation worse, but was so juicy because of it. He just walked up wearing a ring of or like a ring of disguise to be like 2 feet shorter, and in one turn 100-0 the NPC that I had put in front of him, just like dead. When he took down Damar.
He took down.
Because it was Damar, Icheb, and Alexander. Alexander was my squirrely little guy who died faster than he should have because I forgot a mechanic. I forgot he had evasion.
Oh no.
But yeah, oh no. But when Ronan went up to Damar, broke his disguise, and murdered this man in the middle of town because he felt that it was the correct thing. He was like, I need to do this because of what has happened to my people, to my family. I understand that you guys had just put off the perfect distraction.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one.
Perfect distraction to like set up this little shindig to escort people onto a boat that was sailing downstream, like you were smuggling refugees out. And Ronan's like, cool, I think we loaded these people on, they're about to get out of town, I'm gonna cause a way bigger distraction by killing off like the second in command, like Keldar's second. and everyone being like, what? And then following that, the moment where he like, because he stood by that decision, it was not random.
Oh, yeah.
It was not a random murder hobo. He went in with intent. It was calculated.
Oh, yeah.
It was honestly a little scary.
I 100% agree. 100%. I remember that moment.
And that anger, that righteous fury, like that was the moment closest to there's an animated series where basically Superman cuts loose and like goes not necessarily evil because he's Superman and he doesn't kill people, like it's all an elaborate ruse. Superman
They're
versus
just
the
sleeping.
Elite, I think is what it's called. It was on Netflix for a while.
Huh.
But they're like this crew of UK heroes, or like mid-tier heroes trying to get Superman to break his limits, because that's always the thing with Superman, right? He doesn't kill.
Yeah.
He's always trying to be the better person, and he finally snaps, and you're like, oh no, this is why he behaves. This is why he's got this code of conduct. Because if he doesn't, he's a tyrant. And we get a little bit of Superman with like that injustice thing, and it was like Ronan could have gone full, like he could have gone to Eastov, killed off Keldar, and ruled it. He could have parked him there and been in charge of Eastov.
Oh yeah.
And he, like, your herald moment, your like Eastov, your reckoning has come.
Yeah.
Is just like so good in my head, because it's just you had a little bit of your celestial glow to you, and I think you had your wings out.
Yes.
But like you're a harbinger. Like Thalia is the harbinger of all things, because she knows what's coming, she understands what's happening, and she will share that knowledge when it is time. And you made it known to everyone inside the fortress at Eastov that their reckoning was here, and they were not escaping without being judged by it. Whether that was to death or not, they were to be judged, and it was so good. And I loved Ronan's sad moments. Always hit me, like right here, because I've been friends with Chris for literally half my life, and that's a sentence I hate. But
come on, little man, look at your back to retirement.
Yeah. My teeth. But yeah, like I've been friends with Chris for so long that like when he gets emotional, it gets me. And like all of his moments with the kids in any of the places, is always great for me. And I love that he has Adelaide. Like that was she's precious.
Yes.
Lami's moments hit a little few and far between, because he's not just the comic relief, but he especially now that there's just the three of you after we went down from our party of 7.
What a wild time.
Oh, what a terrifying time. I don't know how I managed it.
You didn't. We just ruled
we
chaos.
persevered. But yeah, with him sort of filling in the comedy role and like pushing where he needs to, but also staying true to who Lami is, who's just like kind of here to have a good time and eat some soup. And he won't, as we saw with Yeva and the last call, he will not be pushed, right? You can't get him to do anything. You can't force him to move. So when he moves with a very intense purpose. And so like for a while he was not drawing a weapon. He would not draw his sword in a fight unless he intended to kill.
Yeah, he used a shield a lot.
He was very shield heavy, and then he put down the shield and is now carrying this family sword and trying to figure out what to do with this family sword. And yes, it's broken. Yes, it has no real intrinsic power. But if Chris or if Lami and Ronan can, one, find Ed and get him to remake the sword, that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch and see what they do.
Oh yeah. I cannot wait to see what Chris has in his mind for a new weapon design for Lami. I'm beyond excited for that.
I am too. I'm also very excited for them to run into to finish the search for Ed. Because that's gonna take a little longer than I think they're expecting. Because our poor boy has been abducted and is on the hunt. Now they gotta hunt across a whole city to find him. Oh, there's all these little yellow bits in the ceiling and I can't find them.
You know, just persevere. Do it for the ding.
Do it for the ding. Hashtag do it for the ding. But yeah, what about you? Any particular highlights?
Boy, I echo a lot of what you said about Eastov. Just seeing Chris play Ronan so confidently. Not that he was not confident, but like to really see his moral compass and to not be ashamed of how he wanted to play, like how he saw his character. It like was genuinely super cool.
And also, like, that's a quote that I've always liked, is like, you take somebody's principle, you have a character with principles, right? You have someone with a moral compass, and you have the trick to making interesting conflict is to put somebody's moral conflict in. You put their moral compass in conflict with their desires, with what they want or are driven to do. They're like, you know, not necessarily like pick the lesser of two evils, but like you present that opportunity. Like, hey, not necessarily like a full trolley problem shenanigans of like, you know, you make a choice, you know, who dies? Do you feel like you have the authority to make that call? Oh, and Ronan has kind of shown that color a whole bunch, because like he basically sent Thrall to go kill Ramir because he took Ramir, like he has dealt with Ramir personally.
He messed with Thalia, and that was a no.
Which probably would have been fine if they hadn't attempted to go murk him.
Yeah.
Like, the whole reason
and
Ronan
just let
did
me
this,
be an idiot alone.
you could have gotten out and just been banned from the city for a year. But now this crime lord has a vial of your blood, of a celestial's blood.
That hasn't come back yet.
No, it hasn't.
Shocked.
Mostly for a couple of reasons, but yeah, like that is not a. Honestly, you asked the question like, what's going to happen if Thalia is not like no longer kind of hanging out with the party? The answer is they have to deal with their own consequences.
Oh God!
They don't get bailed out by you making deals with higher powers.
Consequences of my own actions.
Because like you've done that for them so many times.
I realized just how much I've been doing that lately.
Yeah, like all of the. You made the deal with Umshara to get them out of the hag tent, mostly intact, because he was going to suffocate.
Yeah. Save that one for camera, because we still have not unpacked that, and I'm gonna fireplace sidewall.
It's that wall molding.
Oh, I bet you I know which. Yeah, this one.
That's the part that I didn't do my job. Window seat.
I got it. I got the window seat already. Fireplace wall molding is the last thing. Oh, wait. I see it. Somewhere. I had it. It's over here. Yeah.
Oh, it's probably on the top. Yep. Hey, look, a spot I missed.
What's that about the consequences of my own actions?
Oh, does it not?
Woo!
Oh, I don't get to watch the replay.
You don't get to watch the replay. No,
That's half the
online.
fun.
We can go on one of your levels next.
Okay. Hooray! But yeah,
Oh, that's so nice.
hooray! We've done the thing. All right.
Okay. Oh, sweet. I just finished the lower golf one. All right. I'm kicking you so you can.
Oh, I was gonna leave.
I got you.
All right. We just did Tomb Raider. We just did Midgar. What do we think? We could. Oh, I forgot we could put 6 players on some of these. Good grief. Do you want to do skate park? Do you want to do the bathroom? The subway platform?
Great questions. We've done the subway park together. I know that.
Yeah. You know what? Let's do the playground.
You pick. You pick.
Let's do the playground because we have there's a Stegosaurus here. That's a grand old time.
Oh yes, dungeon. We gotta have the dragons.
Yes. Oh, if we wanted the dragons, we do the golf course. But
I was about to say, but you just did the golf course. So
I'm almost done with the golf course, and I don't want to reset the progress. But it'd be really boring to be in there for like 8 seconds.
Fair.
But yeah, the Stego slide. Look at this. Look at this wide friend. Wide, sleepy friend. Giving me side eye. Look at him. Look at this. Look at this friend. Invite to play. I can join your game. Do I have co-op? There we go. Co-op is on. You should be able to find it. Yeah.
Invite me.
Invite to play.
There we go. Downloading dirt.
So much dirt to download.
So much dirt. All this dirt that we've been spreading. All this dirt and tea.
That's why it's called. That's why everything's dirty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there it is.
I get it.
Other moments, the boys that I really enjoyed. The thing with Ronan and Yachty in Tannel. Lamy with Adam recently was really interesting to watch. Really exciting, really interesting.
Yeah.
As much as everyone got mad at him, Lythar, when he made the choice to go back to Cormvor during the Eastoff battle.
Yeah, to go get reinforcements.
I 100% loved that play. Yeah. Partially because Lythar's player had run it past me, and I was like, dude, I think that's a fascinating choice. I can't make it for you. Like, I go with what your gut says. Personally, like, I think that's a really fun way to play, and seeing him go with his gut and just do this like crazy move was wildly interesting.
For folks who may not be on the who may not know, the Ashe and Shade Committee used to have like 7 players in it, because folks jumped in and joined, and it was like, oh, for you it was like, oh, it's a temporary bit. Now it's a like permanent. You're a permanent player. Okay, cool. So I went from running 3 people, including Kendrick, who had never played before.
I mean, I hadn't played before either.
Yeah, well, because my initial game,
yeah,
the very first game was Josh, our friend Zach, who's in Idiot's Guide to Deicide, and it was Kendrick, Josh, and Zach. Chris jumped in like 2 sessions later, and that's when we started recording, and then the rest is kind of history. But Kendrick had never played, and yet watching Kendrick take those moments and really do unexpected cool things, because he was never afraid of making the dumb choice on So like they were attacking. They were trying to kill the last lieutenant of Keldar. He was our ranger. He wanted. He started out as a beastmaster. No, he didn't want to be a beastmaster. Actually, he started as a hunter, and then picked up beastmaster, and that's how we got Cora, who is the best girl, who deserves all of the treats in the world, and is honestly a stronger NPC than most of the NPCs we've met. But he literally like jumped off the back of Helga, who was she a wyvern at that point? I think she was a griffin, or she was still a hippogriff still. Got crit by one of the NPCs, by this lieutenant. Got crit. Made the call, fell off her back into a tree, used transport via plants to go back to a particular grove and ask a group of individuals just called the Shades, just the Shadows, asking the Shadows for help. Because of basically these are long dead, almost geists of elves that originally were burned to death by dragonfire that have chosen to live this sort of half-life and go out and mete out justice. And so he made a deal with them for 6 of their warriors to come join the fight in exchange for Lythar killing 6 people and adding 6 more members to sort of the Shadow Legion group. And unfortunately, Kendrick was unable to really keep playing, so Lythar is currently parked, learning how to be a druid like his dad. See, Chris gives me shit for killing off all the parents, but one of Kendrick's parents is alive. Kendrick took care of his mother in his backstory. That was not on me. Thank you. You're muted, by the way. Rachel, you're muted.
There we go. That's the right up. Sorry.
Where are the buttons? Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, we haven't.
It's Chris.
Had the. It's Chris.
It's Chris. Chris is in the chat.
What?
Chris, do you want to join in this chat? If you do, let me know.
Or you can ask us questions from that chat. We're having a good time chilling and asking questions and answering questions. And
if you want to join the voice chat, don't turn your camera on yet because I would need to fix some things. But if you want to join in, Chris, come on, join the ruckus.
Or take a nap. You've been busy.
Or take a nap.
So
You do deserve a nap
that.
today. You deserve a nap all the time, buddy.
Yeah.
Everybody deserves a nap. Naps are great.
Yeah. So I thought that moment, because Kendrick had been so new to D&D and was still like trying to navigate how the whole thing worked, seeing him take the initiative like that and just
So
play from his like gut instincts, I thought was a really cool moment.
Chris, we're talking about favorite moments of ours, or
they asked about, because it's been me talking a lot, they asked about favorite moments I have of you boys. Yeah. So Curtis.
Yes.
Oh
no, the tables
question.
have turned.
Yeah, correct. Do you think you get to sit here and ask me a lot of questions all night?
Yes.
Wrong. It's 2A today. In terms of what, I'm trying to figure out how to ask this.
Starts with a question word. You got what? We're in a good place.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Listen, if I'm sassy enough, I distract you, and then you like chastise me, and I don't have to answer the question.
Or I just start laughing.
I'm laughing at Chris because Chris just said meat missile, and I know exactly what moment he's talking about.
Oh god, what was that one?
That was in the, and this kind of ties into one of Callus's questions. Favorite place I've made, and this I'm gonna loop this kind of into one of my favorite combat encounters, was the fight in the square outside of the Brotherhood. In the
Back in season 1.
Back in season 1, when y'all were squishy and I could hurt you.
Yeah, that got hairy.
Because
assassins with poison knives.
Yeah, they were sent to murk some people.
It's a family, you cruel man.
Listen, it's way easier to guarantee loyalty when they're family. Also, the dad's still out there.
Oh, that's right.
He's still out there. I don't know if he's dead or not. I just basically
not
remember,
by us.
I basically just remember that he's still alive. Also, yes, the time I hit Chris with a power word kill. Because Red is a bastard with access to high level spells. But the favorite. Yeah, that was the fight where Lamy was very defensive, and that was when he was using his shield. It basically just sprinted towards this assassin and just put up his shield and was like, "Can I smite with this?" And I said, "You know what? Go for it." And he like became this comet of death and just pulverized this assassin to death. Because there was no way I was gonna make that not lethal. Like, yes, Klaus, power word kill is kind of bad form. This was, however, this was part of a larger...
He's been trying to kill us for a long time.
For a very long time. And also,
I keep getting in the way.
I've never... That was partly... A little peek behind the scenes. That was partly me never getting... This is one of the few times I've gotten to run a campaign that's gotten above level 10. And getting to throw big threats at you guys is a lot of fun for me, because I get to dig into the monster manual and find parts that are honestly a little unfair. Power word kill was not the opening, and I used it on the barbarian. I used it on the tankiest motherfucker in the room, because this was also the individual who had beaten up Red. He and Lamy had beaten up Red a number of times, and it was like, okay, we need to deal with the biggest, brawniest threat, because that was the fight on top of the mountain. This was the longbow incident.
Longbow fight. Yeah. Avalanche and all that.
There was an avalanche. There was Chris yeeting himself off of a cliff. And I was like, why does Chris want to kill himself? And TLDR, when your players need a map, get them a map. Like, pause the stream, figure out a map, get distances down, keep good notes, and everything will run smoothly. But that is, again, a conversation that will be on a podcast coming to Spotify and SoundCloud near you. Anyway, I can answer the favorite place question, or Rachel, if you figured out what you were going to ask.
I have kind of figured out. This wasn't, I don't think, what I originally set out to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So, you've introduced time travel into our game recently.
Yes.
How long ago did you know you wanted to include, you realized that we were heading in a time travel direction, and like how did you balance, like, create? I know you have a lot of nitpicky things about time travel, so I know this is very well planned out for you. But like, how long
the narrator doubts this question.
How long ago did you figure out that we were headed in a time travel direction, and that's kind of where you wanted to bring the game?
So I'm trying to answer the question without giving too much away.
Fair.
Long and short of it, time travel is tricky. Time travel is hard to execute well.
Yeah.
Part of it was a bit of a challenge to me, like how can I make a time travel thing interesting without introducing all kinds of typical science fiction and mostly sci-fi, because sci-fi is just, or fantasy and sci-fi are just the same stories in a different pair of clothes. You know, it's one has more unitards and one has more leather. I'll let you figure out which is which. The trick with sci-fi is with time travel is keeping the rules consistent. And there is a video that a friend of mine has that I hope to God he still has it so it can be played at my funeral. We watched the X-Men Days of Future Past movie, and I was a little inebriated and had some capital S strong feelings about it and how poorly the logic was implemented, and may have gotten a whiteboard out of my room at the time and given a bit of a angry TED talk to my housemates about why it doesn't work. Right. And in a number of ways, like the trick with time travel is, again, keeping things consistent and not going, okay, everything needs a cause or effect. Those things can loop in on each other. The cause of something can be the effect of something, like, and not necessarily grandfather paradoxing, but like if someone from the future comes back with, there's a great example in Destiny 2 with a shotgun called the Perfect Paradox, where this character time travels, or like we go through time to get this character and bring them to the present, and they have a shotgun that our character gives them in the future. And it is the same shotgun. This shotgun has no point of origination, but it exists. And because of this causal loop, that's fine. The trick is to get all the loose ends to tie back together. And trying to make sure that whatever logic I put out is consistent and makes sense and is something that the players can understand. Because I might like the movie Primer, I might be in the minority because it hurts people's brains to watch. But it is like, as a small box, small set movie, Primer is wonderful because it just like it's a couple of guys that accidentally discover time travel and what the implications of that are and how it really would be expressed. So once that it's one of those things that I try to swear off of as best I can. In particular, though, with the Ashe and Shade crew, because I think I'm safe in saying like the disappearance of the Underdark War and the abridgment to cover it up. Klaus, I think you're thinking of 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis. So the abridgment is the all records and history of this war were magicked away. Were removed from history by a whole bunch of wizards working in concert. Which, if it was one wizard doing everything, the seal would be a little stronger. Like, the magic would have worked because you have one person focusing the intent into the magic. Having a group to do it on this scale. Oh, that's right. Bruce Willis was in Looper. That's right. I always think of 12 Monkeys because I saw that first. But that's just me. What was I saying? So, like... Yeah, so there are...
wizards.
Yes, there are some inconsistencies. That's the reason that you guys have found individuals who can remember things. You have individuals that can be... there are loopholes, and folks have accidentally found these loopholes just because something of this scale, things are going to slip through the cracks. You know, keeping a secret... The easiest way to keep a secret is if two people know about it, and one of those people are dead.
Yeah.
So having all these people, all these secrets kind of flip through, and it started coming to the point where I was like, okay, how do I working with the abridgment and how this piece of history has been wiped away, what's a good, like, once you guys started digging more into it, having somebody coming to mess with that, and why would somebody want to undo this colossal history memory wipe? What does that entail? Well, there's a repercussion that we don't know about. It's one of those things, like, it's the choice we made in the moment and we have to live with the consequences. But if you could go back, you guys are not really the protagonists of the time travel story. You guys are the people in the world, and people are coming back and saying, no, I can fix the future by changing the past, and you guys are in the past.
That's why I like, when you first said it, time travel, I was like, oh my god, are we the problem?
You guys are the parents in Back to the Future, right? Like, you're...
And I also said, I was like, oh no, are we the people coming back to the future to, like, stop ourselves? I was like, I legitimately panic texted Curtis. I was like, oh my god, Curtis. Is this us?
And that was a thought. That was definitely a thought that I had in my noggin of just like, okay, what the hell do I have? What do I do if players want to meet themselves? Do I play the older version of the parents? I'm sorry if that made anybody dizzy jumping around on the roof like that, because I realized for me that it was a lot to spin around and watch. But yeah, like, what can I do with this? And do I think that I can tell a time travel story in an interesting and consistent way? And that's partly where, like, okay, what are the rules? How do I lay down the ground rules? And having Yati, this entity with the benefit of so much history and understanding time on a broader scale, describing it as a river, or in contemporary terms, like a highway. You know, if you and your buddies are all traveling on a road trip together in different cars, somebody from further ahead, they stop into the slow lane and slow down, and then you catch up to them, but you're at the same point, you get to the same point in the road at a different rate. Or if you want to get ahead, you put your foot on the gas and floor it, and you'll catch up. You'll get there faster, but at the cost of much more energy, because you're moving through space and probably time, because if you time travel, unless you travel to exactly the same day and time and year, you're going to end up floating in space without adjusting for that because of how orbits work. I hope that kind of answered the question, or I'm just going to, like, rave about
You
time
talked
travel.
a lot about the time travel. I just didn't know. So when did you know it was headed time travel-y? Like, was there a moment that you were like, yep, we're going time travel?
It was... There was a moment where I thought about it. And it honestly has to do with the color schemes that we've kind of laid out.
Okay. I was just interested because I know you've talked a couple times about the campaign at the beginning. Like, there was a singular defining moment for that, and I wasn't sure if that was the same for this time travel.
No, this was not a, like, of course time travel is the answer. And there's not much more I could say on that without giving away potential spoilers.
Yeah.
But this was like, okay, it was actually last year. I was chatting with a friend about it, and the moment kind of sat in because we were talking about the Doppler effect in music, and there's an effect in physics called there's a very similar thing that happens in physics called redshifting. red shifting and blue shifting, and that kind of like kicked the brain over into what if you're doing that not through space but through time, and really kind of snowballed everything to like, this is a really cool idea, let's implement it. Also, look at our nice shiny Stego boy.
I'm working on it.
I know, you're doing great. I just want to show the lovely fans.
Dungeons and Almost Dragons and...
Oh,
Wait.
You need to go down the slide.
Yeah. Send me.
Don't take this out of context.
Why is this so simple and stupid, and I love it. Yay!
Very good. Proud of you.
Yay!
You're very brave. One day, son, I'll spray you down, Mr. Sun. Too clean. You've got to be dirty up there.
Let's see. Any other questions in chat? Brain broken, callous. I'm the same way. Time travel does hurt my brain a lot, which is why I haven't had as much.
Honestly, one of the YouTube channels that I watch is like, honestly, my basic level of like, okay, is this stupid or does this work? And I think I've said it to you, to most of my friends. It's called pitch meetings, and it's just one sketch comedian. Name's Ryan George. He's a Canadian. He's very funny. In front of a green screen, and he's playing the producer and the scriptwriter for various movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And he talks about the TV show and sort of makes fun of the movie in a jovial way that's very like, this was a decision that the producer approved of and signed off on, and it made it into the final cut. Or, you know, the producer's like, well, why would he do that? He's like, because I need the plot to happen. And the producer's like, oh, okay, great. I like the plot to happen so I can make money. That's a terrible descriptor of it, but it is one of the, like, it's kind of like Cinema Sins, where you watch it and you're like, oh, they shouldn't have done that. Here's what they could have done instead. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you could add an NPC to the world, what/who would you add? If Silas was here, she'd be like raging at me. But Rachel, I'll let you answer. I don't know if you have an NPC that you'd want to bring in. Someone that we haven't met yet, maybe.
We've met them. I would personally love to see more of my mom. Just as a, like, we've briefly met my mom. I think that would be a lot of fun. But that's just me.
Okay.
Me and wanting to explore my semi-traumatic backstory that all adventures have.
Yeah. Because well-adjusted people don't go off to kill dragons.
Yeah, I don't.
That's a
I don't
T-shirt,
know.
I think.
I don't. Yeah, that has to be a T-shirt somewhere. I'm not quite sure if because there's so many opportunities for NPCs that we just don't know yet. Like Yahtzee, totally did not expect, but I absolutely loved. So, actually no, I do have. She's not an NPC. I personally, we've talked about doing this as a Halloween game for a long time. Doing the dark versions of our characters.
The mirror universe.
The mirror universe Thalia, the mirror universe Ronan, who's just brutal and just doesn't have a code of ethics for killing, just murders just indiscriminately. And like Lami, who just like does care passionately about a lot of things. Like what does anti-Lami look like? Yeah, I would love to see those characters personally, and I was just thinking about it the other day because I do listen to a lot of music when I'm working on stuff. That's just how I focus myself. And so I actually have a Dark Thalia playlist for when that day comes, because it excites me.
For the
darkest
timeline.
Yeah, I found one of her songs, and I was like, oh my god, that's right. I want to visit her. I want to see what she's like. I don't know if you have answer yet.
That would be such an interesting, like... That would be such a wild game. Because, like, I don't know if Ronan would still be, like, a barbarian, or would he, like...
Be a cleric.
Would he go like a monk? Would Ronan
yeah.
be the monk I want to see in the world? Because I know I've bitched about monks before.
Oh yeah. And then you played one with a.
And then I did, and I loved it, brother. I love my fucking asthmatic boy.
Yeah. Long may he rest.
Well, he will be. He's dead. Anyway.
Correct. That's why I said what I said.
Yeah, that's very true. That's another thing that I appreciate about when you're playing is like your word choice is always perfect. It might not be what I expected, but definitely exceptionally, like, it's very considered, which is something I like about Thalia as a character. She is very considered because she knows what a misplaced word can do.
That's a weird way of writing overthinking.
It's poetic, thank you. I have an entire notebook about overthinking, and I just call it my DM notes.
Which I have a feeling by the time we get, well, now since May is crazy and April turned out to be crazy, it may take me a little bit longer, but yeah, we're getting close to needing a third notebook.
Oh, we gotta put all of season. Oh yeah, because you put season 2 and 3 in the same notebook.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4 in the same notebook.
Yeah.
Because I started with a notebook with a couple things missing. So my current notebook is the first like fully blank book I started with. I also have a lot of backstory notes in my first notebook, so like that took up a lot of space.
Do I have a favorite NPC to add? There's a couple of like, I don't want to say like gag NPCs that I have just like floating around. They're all based on puns, right? Because I take a clever bit or here's an idea, here's a character trope. All right, how do I flip this? How do I subvert and invert this in a way that I would enjoy role playing? And so like, you know, there's there's a gnomish spiritualist who's hanging out in a cart that is on the run from the law, so she's a small medium at large. Like that's the entire gist of the character joke, and then you know, I'll flesh it out from there, and I'm sure she'll have like either her life will be tragic or her life will be normal until the day that she was on the run from the law, and then we go from there. But that's just because I'm full of terrible puns, and if I can get, once I make a pun and someone's like, oh no, I'm like, great, this character has served its purpose regardless of plot wise. Like if somebody gets the joke, we're in.
Let's see what else we have.
Oh, favorite location. We can go back to that question.
Yeah.
Personally, my favorite part about making locations is making other people do the work for me.
Yeah.
Because it was so like we'll see some of this coming into action with if
the ancient archipelago.
If you can convince the lads to go.
At this point, she might just have to go alone.
Which would be a whole other adventure. But yeah, like going to the ancient archipelago, and like that was a spot that Rachel, you and I had talked about as part of your backstory.
Yep.
Also, hello. Also, hello, Erica. Welcome. We are cleaning the playground. We're cleaning.
Send us your questions.
Yeah, all the questions that you want to ask Rachel or make me answer on stream.
He's been trying to ask. He's been answering a lot of questions lately, though. So.
Yeah, because I was bullied into it by somebody.
Correct. I'm just doing my job.
As a guest, that's fair. You're turning the tables on me, and I appreciate it. D&D, all about keeping people on their toes. But favorite location, I would think. I really liked how, like, Korumvor and Durganvor having above and below ground sister cities that are kind of this cosmopolitan mishmash of ideas and cultures, because different folks have occupied and lived there at different times. And so naturally that place gets a little more development than some of the other cities I've laid out. Because up to a certain point, I don't need a like measured out map of the Kondo Oasis sewer system, right? Because if you guys run into it, I'll do a GM thing, and I'll just like, okay, cool. Do you guys want a map? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, you guys have to go find one or make one yourself while you're adventuring, and then it's a reason for you guys to take your time or make a friend or something like that. It buys me time. There's a whole lot of like stall, great, got it, in my DMing style, which should probably surprise no one who actually knows me. But having Korumvor and Durganvor, as much as I like roll my eyes and grumble whenever Chris like does the door beneath the floor that leads to Korumvor or to Durganvor.
Wow, what a great accent Ronan has there.
That's fine.
Love you.
We're here for the dopamine. Listen, accents do not bring the dopamine today.
There's your ding.
Oh, the ding. Thank you, ding. But the yeah, I liked those two cities. I liked Durganvor as this like almost Mines of Moria type city underground, but the threat is still there, which made it, when you guys discovered that Ragarin was still in there, so good. And like giving you guys the ultimate D&D plot enemy, a door, a locked door, is my favorite. And watching you guys just like kind of bash your heads against it to figure out the riddles and just put in the time to do the research was wonderful. And I think Korumvor and Durganvor are my two favorites, with a very close second being, this might just be being nostalgic, but Long Pike, the very first town where this whole campaign started, has my favorite stop, my favorite inn, the Twice Torched Inn.
Twice Torched Inn now, I think.
It only burned out twice. The second time they built it out of stone because they knew better.
Oh, right. Yeah, Twice Torched.
Because that's just nostalgia, because that's where the campaign started.
Yeah.
I started the game by going, cool, hello, my 3 players. You guys are all in an interrogation cell together. Whether or not you know each other is up to you. But the local constable is going to come in and ask you, hey, what were you doing when the inn caught fire? And you guys tell me what you guys were doing. Give me a flashback. Tell me what was going on when the inn caught fire, or when the inn burned down. And that sort of started the whole process. And so when they rebuilt the inn, it was a little more sturdy, made out of wood. And then it burned down again, and then they built it. It was burned down 3 times, or they're on their third inn.
Yeah.
It's been burned down twice, which is why it's the Twice Torched. All right, what are we missing? It's so clean. It looks so different.
It's so clean. What do we?
Climbing pole guard.
Oh, what are we missing?
That one. Large birch slits. Or large ladder slats. Now comes the least chill part of this game. Where is the last ding?
Is that one?
There's
Oh
two.
my god. Oh, bet you this
Floor.
right here. I'm on the tower floor. I got it.
Great.
Oh,
Tower floor
I just saw it.
undersides.
I just saw one. Here we go. Neat. Oh,
Oh, there's this guy.
there it is. There's this one.
Tower lower walls. It's all tower stuff. Ooh.
Bench. Did I not do a bench? Oh, I just didn't finish a bench.
You gotta get the back of it.
The heck?
Ugh, unbelievable. The audacity. Tower support strut. Tower support strut. Yeah. But yeah. Do you have a favorite spot in particular?
I mean, I like going for Durgan boards. Like as a home base, it's a pretty cool sort of thing. Tower trim. Where you at? Seriously though, where's this tower trim?
When in doubt.
Flash it.
Tower wall. I can't even find another piece of trim
I know.
to compare it against.
Did you set it to
8 of
flash?
9.
Yeah, set it to flash.
Yep, it's set to flash. Did I see it? Am I on drugs? There it is. Got it. Hooray! Alright, now my favorite part.
Woo!
The time lapse. Move this pen. Oh no, it's being moved.
Yep.
Yay!
Yay.
Alright.
Let's see.
Let's do... You want to do a vehicle? You want to do...
Just thought I like her new fancy pen from Yahtzee. Yeah, she hasn't really used it a ton, but yes.
That
Yeah.
was part of a design discussion that Callus and I had one evening, and Callus sort of helped guide that because Callus is a very visual person who like had ideas and helped design that. So I'm very excited for you to meet more people who have that pen.
I'm terrified. Also, Chris, sorry to hear you're like a moment away from a mental breakdown. So, hope your night's getting better.
We're here for vibes and chatting and the dings.
Love.
To borrow some of the dings.
We're here in search of dopamine.
We're here for the dings.
What are we doing next, boss?
Well, we did one of your... I picked one, you picked one.
Mm-hmm.
So, your turn to pick one again.
Oh, my turn?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What's a good level? Skate park, maybe? You want to just do skate park?
Good.
Skate park's fun.
The finger. What are you talking about the finger, Chris? Ah! Oh, God. He spawned in with me.
I look away for
that
1
scared,
second.
That scared
I
the
look away
shit out
for
of me.
1 second.
I just did the ba-da-doo, and you just appeared in front of me, and I panicked.
I would do the same.
There was a finger. Where, dude? We've been playing this game for 4 years. You gotta remind me. You gotta give me more than just there was a finger.
Just thought I have a familiar. Funny you mentioned that. That's been in the talk. That's been in the talks. There's a finger on the map picture.
Big hand, sandy finger. Oh, the level. Okay, yes, there's a giant hand.
Oh, yeah.
The large hand to clean. Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's the rest of the monument with it. Yes, you are correct. I thought you meant Ashe and Shade, and I was like, my dude, there are so many fingers. Yeah, we listen. Animals are mostly safe. Animals and kids.
Curtis and I have been having some secret discussions about whether Thalia should have a familiar at this point. We'll find out.
Everybody needs a companion.
We never did finish that conversation, did we?
Which one?
The familiar
question. Familiar one? No, we didn't.
We never did finish that. Well, we need to do that at some point.
We should. Could get a flump. Because yeah, that's the familiar conversation is always a good one because like it's a fun and useful spell.
I think I did pick it up. I think last level up, I did pick it up.
I think we definitely discussed it, and then figuring out what that familiar would be, both mechanically and narratively. Listen, my game, my rules. If your DM's killing off horses because he hates horses, he can figure that out on his own. For the most part, the animals don't do anything wrong. They're just animals trying to eat or trying to survive, and I try not to do it because it's real easy to fall into this person kicks dogs, they're immediately a bad person. It's the save the cat, it's the opposite of the save the cat moment where this person, Superman saved this cat or literally beginning of The Incredibles, right? There's a robbery, Mr. Incredible stops his car to save this cat for this old woman. He ends up stopping the robbery, but he's like, I'm going to do this thing for this woman and then go stop the real crime. Having this person, punches babies is it's heavy-handed, and there are times where it works, but for the most part, there are easier and better ways to show that. I also I don't know, hurting animals is not my speed, and that would definitely be something that I would want to clear with my players, because I know a lot of these fine folks are animal lovers, and I don't want to if I did that, Chris would regardless of the consequences, murder whoever's in front of him. Whoever kicks the dog, they're dead, and complete that would be the intent of that. But I don't want to I don't know. Dogs deserve better. Anyway, that's my rant about how I use the Bethesda effect, because in Bethesda games you can't kill kids. There's only one kid you ever kill in a Bethesda game, and it's when you blow up Nuketown in Fallout 3. You cannot harm kids in the base Bethesda games, and that's kind of the rule that I follow as a DM. Now, if you have a pet familiar and want to bring them into a fight like Cora, I tried to hurt Cora. It didn't do anything, because Cora had way better rolls than almost anyone else in the room.
Correct. Always. Cora always has better rolls than us.
I think Cora had more kills than Lythar for the most part.
Correct.
Lythar was real good at the chip damage, and Cora would come in and finish the job.
Yep.
Lythar just got the big kills, on the rock.
The rock. On the rock.
He got another kill somewhere. That was important.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah,
anyway.
I did. Yeah. Let's check. Any questions? Let's see.
Thalia's familiar being sent by her mom. Because
that has been a discussion, I believe.
Yeah.
That was part of the discussion.
And how that gets shown off and implemented a little bit. Because the familiar is more than just, hey, look, here's my pet dog.
Yeah.
And
We're
maybe
talking about there. The odds of Thali having a normal familiar are very low right now.
it might start off normal. Like
It's not gonna be a dog. I'll promise you that.
yeah. And like it might start off with like, you know, not necessarily no magical powers, but it's a familiar. It's not gonna be a cat. If it is a cat, it will appear as a normal cat under like detect magic and things.
We did joke about it.
Being the orange cat.
We did joke about it being Atronix's cat / the cat that showed up at Yahtze's that now is probably like the universe's representative or something like that. We did joke about that being my familiar for a hot second.
It's just this orange.
Like, wasn't that Atronix's familiar? You know.
Listen,
we did joke about that.
The one chooses the wizard, the familiar chooses the caster. Like, it's fine. No, you're my. It's like that would be the most cat-like thing though. Like, no, yeah. I'm your familiar. Now.
I'm tired with that one.
I know. Listen, I know that you wanted something cool, but I'm your familiar now. Deal with it. Feed me and give me pets. You know, like a real cat. There's no reason a cat isn't just a real familiar in this world. Like in real life, like. I'm so excited. Speaking of Korra, I'm very excited to see when, because there's some background stuff that's been happening that I'm very curious to see if it comes to fruition with her. That I'm really excited about, but I don't know if it'll happen. So I'm doing the terrible like social media thing where it's like I'm involved in something really cool. It's super secret and I can't tell you, but it's super cool.
Wait, news coming soon. Maybe never.
Watch this space. No, it might not happen. If it doesn't happen, I will absolutely talk about it in a wrap-up session because it's a thing that I'm really stoked.
Okay, speaking of wrapping up, do you see this campaign? Like, do you see where would you say like where you
where
know?
Do I see this ending?
Where do you see it ending, but just like how far percentage wise do you see us through your like main vision for the plot so far?
I think we are because what, you guys just leveled up to like 15?
14.
14, okay.
13? No, 14.
14, because the command is wrong, right? Yeah, if I put in the command, it'll say you're 13.
I think.
I'll have to dog Xylus's pay until they fix it.
We'll figure it out.
Yes, thank you, Callus, for catching that. Yeah, so we are. I am a fan of ending things when they feel correct.
Like a narrative ending.
Yeah, there might be more stories to tell with these characters, but we need to give them space and time to exist without us behind the wheel. This has been the longest campaign the longest consecutive campaign I've ever run, and the most like consecutive sessions I've ever run of a campaign. Like, this is a big old like milestone campaign for me, and honestly, I credit most of the fact we've made it this far to the fact that we're like, cool, let's check our schedules. Can we meet at, because like you were saying, when we started, we were playing on Thursdays, and now we play on Wednesdays, and it has become...
Yeah, it's moved back and forth between Thursdays and Wednesdays a couple times. I think this Wednesday pattern's been the most consistent in... We switched, what, 2 years ago? Or a year ago to Wednesdays?
A year ago, yeah. Like, we came back in...
I think it was like, after the first in person.
Yeah, we came back and we're like, okay, Wednesdays. And once we got to the point where people were like, yeah, Wednesdays. Always Wednesdays. It was like, great.
Yeah.
We will always play on Wednesdays. Clear your calendars and make stuff happen.
Yeah.
You know, and life happens and gets in the way, which is, you know, as evidenced by what's going on here. But we adapt and persevere and chase things.
Yep.
As I do my best impression of a Roomba.
Same.
Back and forth.
Are you doing floor or? Oh yeah, you're doing floor. I'm being totally chaotic, which is not my normal gameplay for this, and just like clearing little corners and pockets.
That's fair.
I usually am very methodical about this. I like do a whole corner, and I'm just like, let me go do this little random. And now there's just the random shiny clean thing in the middle.
Follow the
dopamine.
like, no judgment.
I don't know.
We're here for dope.
I'm just like randomly like, let's see, what do I clean next?
But yeah, I think this will end. If we hit level 20, I will be impressed. That is, I'm not gonna like. There's not really like a hard level cap for it, but like, because I want folks to find a good culmination for character arcs, and that's like we're at the point where I need to start tying arcs together and tying things up. Or we need to, I should say. This isn't just about me. So, finding opportunities to tie things together, have mysteries that are unsolved, that are somebody else's to uncover. I think right now, like once you guys get to the archipelago, that will be that will sort of set the pacing, depending on how you guys go from the archipelago.
Okay.
So like we are in, if not the final season, we're in
percentage
60 to 70. Like we're in the home third.
Okay.
Yeah, we're like 30%.
Yeah.
Sure, we have like 30,
Okay.
25 to 30% left. I'm comfortable giving that as a roundabout number. The very long-winded question or answer to your question.
5%.
Always 5%.
Only 5%.
God, it's so hard when people are like, "Oh, do you want a comment code? Like, what do you call your viewers?" And I'm like, "Well, we're not the 5%ers because that's a hate group. So we're definitely not that." So what do we call ourselves? I don't know. Also, they're like, "We'll give you 10% off." I'm like, "But we're that almost works."
Yep.
Callus did have a question. Go back and replay, change, or do something differently. What would you?
Ooh.
Is there a choice that you regret?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Or like a moment you want to a choice you would change, or a choice you would go back and live in that moment again?
Good question. I'm very distracted by how hypnotically cleaning these stairs is delightfully pleasing.
I have at least one quick answer.
Go for it.
There have been some moments where like again, the longbow incident where like I did not have a map. I did not have good. No, but that is a moment that it's a cop-out because I've talked about it before. If I hadn't talked about it before, it'd be a different story. But, like, it's a moment that I want to do better because of how that fight went in my head is very different from how that fight actually played out. Once you guys closed the gap to it, to join that fight, because that's when you guys fought a whole bunch of monsters from the Shadowfell, which was really fun, and I really like those monsters. But that was also a period where I wasn't sure how to take the game because the PCs were fighting, and I wasn't sure. A conversation back then would have cleared up some stuff for me personally to try and make the game maybe not more fun, but like more clear to folks about like how we were feeling. Because there were some back and forth arguments in character that I reacted poorly to, and if I had had the conversation with some of those folks, it would have been a little cleaner on my end, and I could have focused on the storytelling instead of, oh no, are my friends mad at each other because of a game? Kind of thing. A non-cop-out answer is actually somewhat recent. The Umshara fight.
Oh, okay.
Because I had fully intended Adam and Evelyn to do more in that fight, and I dropped the ball on them. Like, they were intended to be more active participants, and help resolve things, but like timing and pacing got away from me, and it's one of those where I goofed, but it also gave Ronan a really good reason to be upset, a really good reason to be mad at Adam.
Yeah.
Is this piece right here, this piece right here, Tyler? Because that's just part of the wall. That's just the paint. It's part of the like the weird blue bit. I don't know why it's the only piece of like dark green on the wall. It's a skate park. No, if people are, it's an old theater adage. If people are looking at that part of your set, the rest of the show is really boring, and like you have much larger problems than we're bored in looking at the set. Unless you hang out with theater people all the time, in which case they're going to stare at your set no matter what. But yeah,
all right,
like,
so Umshara fight would be
running the Umshara fight a little differently. I don't think it would probably have not changed the outcome. I'm fairly confident in saying that the outcome would have remained the same, but giving Adam and Evelyn a little more agency in those moments, when I'm not busy worrying about running an absolutely demigod-like fate being, and trying to keep the fight interesting as you guys basically two-rounded her through a whole lot of her heavy hits. Because most of the time when I'm designing monsters for y'all, I have to make some pretty significant liberties or make it so they can't be bursted down by Ronan going, all right, rage, reckless,
yeah, rage,
double
reckless,
swing, great weapon,
great mass,
whack, 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 whack. Like, my dude turns into a lawnmower really quickly.
Vroom, vroom. I think something that I don't know if I would change or if I regret anything. But I've really been struggling as a player, and a little bit with Alia herself at this kind of falling out with Ronan. It's been pretty challenging to like be a little petty and not just say everything's okay and fine and whatever you need, Ronan, and just like to soak in that hurt a little bit, I guess, for lack of better words, but to soak in that hurt and to not go running back and try to amend things. And I don't know if I would change anything, because it truly, like, I know that whole conversation where like Ronan basically was like, no, I'm gonna ignore your advice, I'm gonna do my own thing, whatever you want. That was absolutely 100% in Dahlia in character for her, but it's very hard. She's also a peacemaker a lot of times, so the fact that she's not running back trying to fix things, oh my god, that was
yeah, the moment where, and there's recording of it where Ronan like extends that olive branch of, do you want me to twist fucking
just like sinking in that hurt and not like running back,
not immediately resolving it.
Very weird, and I don't know if I don't know if I regret it yet. Right now it hurts. I'm like, Chris, I love you. Valiola's running. I just genuinely don't know what to do, because somebody who she thought was like her best friend and really listened to her and valued her information just was like, I don't care about like this life or death thing that you're telling me, so I'm just gonna ignore it. To have someone betray her that deeply, for someone who values the truth, who values like all of that knowledge, I'm wrestling with it right now, and so I don't know if I necessarily regret not going back to the Twist and Shout. That's something I'm gonna find out, I think, but I can see that becoming something that, again, I don't, like Curtis was saying, it's not something I necessarily change, but I'm a little nervous that I'm gonna regret it. I'm a little nervous I'm gonna regret that down the road.
I also like, again, though, that's the moment where like it was Thalia made the call, and that call felt not justified, but it felt correct. Like it made perfect sense narratively for her to be like,
Yeah.
no, you go, y'all have fun, you do your thing, because
you're gonna do your thing, and that's all I'm good for is researching, apparently. So I'm just gonna do the job you want me to do and
cool.
nothing more.
I will, and also like that's the sort of, I kind of saw that not just as like this is what I'm good at and I'm gonna do the thing that I'm, your
you keep me around to do.
Yeah, it's like this is what it's going back to her roots. Like it's finding more of her, because she's just spent all of this time doing a quest for Ronan and a quest for Lami and a quest for Adam, and now she's like, well, what, like it's kind of a what about,
no.
no
She said, no, I have to read this book Lami gave me. What about that is her?
Okay, that's fair.
If she truly went on a, well, fine, I'm gonna do my own thing, she might go talk to Chaos and do his little interview. Go talk to Chaos, and she'd probably try to get more in contact with her mother. All right, so this is a question we've toyed around with, and I'm curious, chat, if maybe the question for you a little bit too. I'm gonna flip over to chat just to see. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Callus. Feels like the character moment. Thanks. I'm trying here to provide entertainment to the masses.
I know. I'm also trying to provide entertainment for the masses. Hang
on. No, Cass, I've not thought about what questions I want to ask. Mostly just like unload your story to me. I want as much of it as you can give a mortal being, is about where I'm starting at with my interview with Cass. This is something that I've thrown out once as a funny haha what would happen to Curtis, and I'm curious, chat, what if Thalia goes and is like, I'm just gonna ascend and become some crazy, like, I'm connected to all these powers now, and that's what I'm gonna do full time now. Goodbye. I'm gonna go live with my mom in the Celestial Plane, because I've, I'm getting an upgrade. Curtis, if I said, like, genuinely, Curtis, this is where Thalia is heading.
This is how I feel.
Reaction. Go.
This is my reaction right here.
Oh, hold on. I don't have two screens.
No. It's right there. It's on the Powerwash game. Please, I got you. This would be me.
Curtis, we're here for the dopamine.
That's the most Joker rictus smile I have ever seen. The power washer who laughs. Jesus Christ, I'm leaving. That's gonna haunt my nightmares.
I forgot I had the yellow nozzle.
Just grab the wide swat. No, I would like if.
Erase that. I'm only crying a little bit.
Listen, we were gonna map out the conspiracy theory board in the dirt, so we'll have to do
we
that.
Will get to that
we'll
soon.
do that. We'll go to the washroom.
That's
we'll use that as our map, and I think that's where we'll end, because it's about 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because this game eats so much time, because it is just So good. And also chatting with friends. Like, this is my...
Yeah, really fun. And
This is
it's
what
been really fun answering chat questions.
Yeah, having
Like, we
fun.
haven't gotten to do that yet, so...
Yeah,
It's been fun to hear what you're interested in about, not what we think you're interested in about.
That's very true, because once you start broadcasting it, like, it's no longer just our game. Like, we share it with you guys, but I'm always
Which terrifies me, but...
It helps that we've been very good about not gatekeeping. That's not the word I want. But like our community is vibes. We are here for it, and everyone's here to have a good time.
You guys respect us as creators, and you let us make our choices, which we really respect and appreciate.
I've never had somebody try to gatekeep or try to backseat DM in one of these streams, which has happened on others I've been a part of, or backseat PCs and stuff like that, because we're all here to play games and have good stories and stuff. Anyway, there was a question at some point that has lost me, and I've lost it.
Yeah.
You had a question kind of for the chat.
Oh yeah. Chat. Thoughts on Thalia going, like, not evil ascension, but just
like ascending to a higher plane.
It's like, I'm gonna full blown lean into my celestial heritage.
I want. I've had enough of this mortal plane. I want to, like, to me, that is like, I would love that.
Like, cause, as I say,
response is 3 questions back.
1, 2, 3 messages.
Oh, like the YouTube series where the reception is the receptionist
hilarious.
in hell. If you think I don't know if Thalia would take a receptionist job.
Yeah, she might.
Depending on who it's for.
Depending on what it's for.
That's true. So what? I would be really interested to see how that works, because that is an area that I haven't, like. That's a thing I haven't considered, because that's
to me, like, thinking about, because I've been having to think a lot about what Thalia is going to do next if the boys stay split from her and she doesn't make up with Ronan. Like, if they keep going on some quests and she's like, no, I can't follow that one. I was trying to figure out what she'd do, and I was like, well, she'd keep getting in touch with these bigger powers, and what effect would that have on her? Like, is she that age-old question of, like, once you start reaching those bigger powers, how do you stay mortal? You know, how do you stay tethered to
the small stuff?
Yeah, and I was like, what if she, like, didn't fight it a ton? What if she didn't fight loosening those tethers and becoming fluid? Like, that's something I know I want to discuss more with Curtis, depending on which path she takes. You know, would she fight loosening some tethers and just, like, fully embracing some of that wild celestial stuff and, like, being a representative for the universal voices? So yeah, that's a sneak peek at what might happen. That's something we've talked about quite a bit.
Would she maybe ascend physically and, like, leave?
And that's one that I think might be one step too far.
Okay.
I'm not sure she would go quite full blown there. It's possible. I think it would take a much bigger push, like Ronan dying when she wasn't there. You know, if Ronan chooses to go down this path and does die, even though, like, she warned him, she might. She might not take that super well.
So that's a question. What's keeping her here? Yeah, is it just Ronan? Is it Ronan and her dad?
Yep.
You know. Okay.
Electronics. Yeah, there's a lot of questions right now asking about, like, without Ronan, who is she?
Which is really interesting, considering that's, like, because of Ronan, even in the initial build of Thalia,
She's
like,
just random wandering lore bard.
Ronan, like, she's there because of Ronan, and now
Ronan does not want her there. So
I think Ronan wants her, but I think he's not going to force you to go, even if he has made a foolish promise to a kid.
That's another thing I regret. I genuinely regret not either above board or in game warning Chris about making a promise like that. About killing Umshara for what's his name? Lalo and
I only remember, I mostly remember Lalo.
Jahan. Mostly because I know somebody else with a similar name. I do regret above board and or not, in-game warning Chris about making that kind of promise, because I didn't fully understand what we were walking into, but I had a feeling it might not be super great.
Beat up.
I had an inkling just in my gut, and so I didn't say anything because I was like, it's a gut feeling. Like, I don't know that much about the situation. Adam and Evelyn seem like they killed 2 other hags. Maybe we can kill this one too. It'll be tough, but doable.
They've dealt with 2 other hags.
Yeah, I misread that one, and I do regret not warning Chris to be careful with his words there. So Chris, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. I feel very badly about that still.
Yeah. And that's one where I was like, did I not telegraph that like killing her is not a thing that's going to be super feasible without massive like, this will not be just like a walk in, drop her hit points to 0 and walk away kind of thing. But that's a conversation that we've had as well. And like that's also like an interesting thing as, high-level adventurers. You're now at the point where, like, you are powers. You guys are big swinging powers of the universe.
Which doesn't feel real, I'll be honest. Thalia's like, nah, BS on that.
Thalia's also talking to, when God said, let there be light, or when some voice in the cosmos said, let there be light, and order showed up and put the molecules in the right order. You basically have a standing lunch date with the guy who was created when light showed up and wrote down the words, let there be light. And also, you or Evelyn still have his pen.
Evelyn does.
Okay.
Unless we want to retcon that. And I have it.
Would you have left that with her?
No.
Okay. Then yeah, we can say that you got it back. Because I honestly forgot.
I'm not sure if she would. Well, she probably would have wanted to keep it, but knowing what it was, no.
No.
And considering I was going to talk to Chaos at some point,
Yeah,
no, I would have.
I can also see her being like, yeah, that didn't work. I'm going to give this to you while we figure out a solution.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you asked her for it, she would give it to you. So yeah,
Okay.
we will retcon that.
I gotta update my inventory.
Yeah, I want to go through I want to go through Pete Folks' inventory and be like,
do a freaking audit over here.
Speaking of audits, I'm a little. I appreciate that Thalia is like, hey, I'm here to do a thing.
And then you were like, do you want to meet the auditor? And I was like, no.
I was like, oh, but he's fun. He's a cool little, because like I haven't done a lot with goblins. Like there haven't been a lot of stuff with goblins in this
You
world.
you have sad Thalia right now.
I do have
Thalia
sad-
is a little atypical.
I do have sad Thalia.
You have sad Thalia, so she's a little
That's
sad,
and that's
mad.
totally fair. But Slipshard is a boy, is a buddy.
Okay, is he from the Commerce Guild in Terraborn?
Not from Terraborn. There is a Commerce Guild.
Wasn't there a Commerce Guild in Terraborn that Robbie had connections to?
Yes, because he is a guild.
He's a guild member.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember whether there was I thought there was a goblin there in a suit that Robbie introduced Ozzy to.
I believe it was a no.
Was it a no?
I can check the tapes.
I can also check my notes. Maybe.
But this is not. Yeah, Slipshard is from quote unquote head office. He is a boy with. He is the president. He's the CEO of the company showing up. He's the superintendent showing up to the school and being like, no, keep teaching, teach like normal. I just need to check on some things. He gets the jobs like, hello, I'm here to audit your entire kingdom because your boy Robbie kind of illegally took ownership of the kingdom because of how he killed Ragarin initially. Which was also really fun to, when working up Yati and Tannel, having that power be used for good, or like in a positive way, was really fun, and not like, how do I make this dragon kind? Like, what kind of kindnesses would he show, as opposed to Firanax, who literally kept Ragarin around as a walking, talking trophy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do I showcase what this gift can be used for, and like sharing their magical energy is 10 out of 10. But yeah, I also try to when I'm doing mysteries after the boat incident, leave clues in a lot of places, and not necessarily tied to you have to talk. It's not a telltale game. You don't talk to the right person at the right time and you miss it forever. That wasn't the button I wanted. There's a railing. Wait a second.
I got it. I got eyes on it.
Nope. And one last wall. Set to flash.
I got eyes on it. It's over
Wall
here.
set to strobe.
It's on the... up here.
Oh, it's this. Oh, I missed this. Look at you go. Parkour. Alright. Look at the skate park become clean. Oh, wow. You went for all, like, the ramps and things before it started.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you. I went random.
You did. I appreciate it. I'm here for it.
While he's loading, I'm gonna pull up my board here.
Yes. We will go to the...
Alrighty, here we go. This is my current whiteboard. Okay, you can see most of it. Excellent. So, this is my time travel theory right now. I've got all the different... Oh.
Hold on. I'm going to put us up on a larger screen so it's a little more readable.
Okay. There you go. You now have most of the screen. Oh god, yay. Okay. Yeah. Oh. Do I need to angle?
No, we got most of it. Yeah, we're good.
Cool. So these are all the colors that are apparently the time traveling. These are where we've seen them pop up. Like these two are TBD. This one arrives in 3 weeks. We haven't met orange or yellow. So this isn't all an if-then sort of thing. So we've got facts. The future travelers have been present for major socio-political events. Second, Roy G. Biv was used as coalition colors. So taking those two thoughts, if the time travelers are aligned with the coalition, which is Robbie's initial thought, so if we run with that, then future time manipulators have access to coalition knowledge. And the only places in our time with coalition knowledge are containment units and possibly the Citadel, because we don't have eyes on that. All right. So, taking that into consideration, the time travelers could be from forces on the Citadel from the future. Possibly. Another side one, if everyone forgot the Citadel, but they remembered everything, because we don't know how the abridgment affected the Citadel. That's a big floating question mark in the sky right now. Then they may have reason to want to reverse the abridgment, because if everyone forgot about them and they're having a crisis up there, that's a problem for them. So if they try to reverse it so they could have power, then they might have a reason now for all of the above. And welcome to my current conspiracy board.
Yeah,
Yep.
I I have several saved screenshots of your conspiracy boards, and they are my favorite to look at because I'm like, okay, something like what is, and that's the thing as a GM, what are my players grabbing onto? And the fact that you're like, cool, here's an entire thought process based on like, cool, probably coalition, great, what do we know about that? What do we know, what do we don't? Let's find these things out. And there are questions to ask to figure those things out, in an effort to get answers. And I love the conspiracy theory boards because they just like, they fill me with joy because you because you care.
That is genuinely one of the more involved conspiracy boards. Most of them are just like arrows pointing to different like
noun webs.
It's like, yeah, it's noun web because it's like Lami, arrow to Kondo, and then Kondo's got like 4 arrows out from there, and then that somehow connects to Ronan, and then that somehow connects to me, and then like through 4 different, and then Robbie's in there, and so is the Mechanus arc, and like it's mostly just lines
and that's
arrows pointing to what connections we have so far.
Yeah.
Less conspiracy of like this is gonna be the thing. It's more of just like trying to connect the dots. And Curtis laughs at me, as I'm probably incredibly far off.
I no, I do not laugh because you are far off. I will like seeing. I love it because I get to see what you're picking up on. It's like why DMs have players do their own recaps. Like having you guys do the recap tells me what you guys picked up on and what you think is important. And then I go, okay, here are the things that are more important, that are like mission critical. Here's some things that I can just nudge in that direction and be like, yeah, cool, got it, great. I also like coming into this game and playing this for so long, I realize I don't think in arcs. I think in I don't have like here's like the Briarwood arc for Critical Role fans where it's like here's this one thing, and then we come to this. I'm like, well, we don't have like the closest we got to that was getting to Pharanax and dealing with, because it was one city and we just dealt with things in one place.
Yeah, season 1 was probably the closest to an arc.
Right, and then the rest of the nonsense has just kind of accelerated to the point where there's a very large world that I have like names on a map and a dartboard, and I'm just like throwing shit at it. And also, it doesn't help that we lost a bunch of players that had
you had so many plots lined up.
I had like, because currently Lythar is doing here's the bathroom.
And forgive me, sorry, I just like saw the door and I was like, I need a ding.
Did it start you over here?
Yeah.
Oh, that was weird. It started us on opposite sides of the washroom. That's cool. I never noticed that. I'm gonna stand here real quick while I ramble a bit. Yeah, like having players teed up for arcs, and like, here's stuff for your character, and then we lost Robbie, we lost Firo, we lost Lythar.
I would also argue that the Eastov arc was pretty self-contained. Once we got there, the Eastov arc was pretty.
That's fair.
In in Rekinsvik.
Yeah, once you go like Rekinsvik into Eastov and resolving that fight was fairly self-contained.
I think that was pretty self-contained.
And then I had, because like we had 2 NPCs with big condo relations. Because Firo, spoilers for, I guess.
Anyway, it's backlogged.
Yeah, spoilers for the backlog. I don't know which.
Oh darn! You'd have to not watch like a lot of hours.
Let me save you a whole bunch of mediocre watching.
Hey, don't downplay us. We work.
The Firo was a Warforged who basically has the body and has the soul of the Prince of Kondo in his body, and basically like that soul found its way into this Warforged and is coming to grips with that. And so there was going to be a little more with the Raj and a little more with like in condo with that kind of teed up, and then unfortunately
Resistance group and
resistance
like,
against the Raj and stuff like that.
Oh, that was gonna be. I was really pumped for that.
Yeah, that was a really interesting choice because like Firo, the character.
I hope one day we get to invite Deeps back.
Yeah, well, it was if his schedule clears up.
Out.
Yeah. Because unfortunately he got a gig and had to take the pay and.
Good for him.
Yeah, no, absolutely the correct choice. But it was one of those where it's like, oh, that'd be so good.
Yeah.
Because like
having
that was a story arc I was really really excited to see. Like it's kind of the who your family is. Do you take your place? What do you do with this information? How are you different from how your family is, or something? Like there was a whole lot to really sink my teeth into there, and Deeps was really excited for it, and unfortunately it just didn't pan out. And then like Robbie and Patrick, because Robbie was getting to the point where he needed to take a bit of a back seat, and so Mike brought in Patrick.
It was super fun.
Patrick was great. Everybody needs a curmudgeonly old man at the party. And then
absolutely.
And then Kendrick Lythar is learning how to do druid things in addition to being a ranger, and is hanging out with Alistair, who used to work with Patrick. Was a cleric of Sylvanas, the Oak Father, the Fern Daddy.
No. We were having such a good night.
We were. I had to ruin it eventually. Also, Stevie Boy, if you're still here, thanks for hanging out. If not, have a lovely evening. But yeah, so like Patrick was this like older, this paternal figure that folks in the party needed. He's the reason Ronan has a bag of beans. Basically giving him a magical super weapon.
We now have Bean Grenade.
Yes, the plan Bean. One day it'll happen, and
level 20 Plan Bean.
Never works because you try to use it in a combat situation, buddy. But like, yeah, we lost a whole bunch of like interesting character arcs, and now it's kind of one of those.
How do you make an arc out of remnants and half the people?
Yeah, because like especially like
that is still narratively satisfying.
Ronan's arc has kind of Ronan's main arc, like his a lot of his backstory drive is his backstory is resolved, right? So now he's got his own arc, which is murder the daughter of one of the Fates, or at least distant relative of that. And so like how do we keep that compelling when the threads start to split, stuff like that. And Chris, you could give them to a random child. Sylvanas would be a little displeased. And Patrick would personally be very grumpy. Oh, now that's right. This is the one we want because there's all these dings. So many dings.
Yeah. I'm going.
Also, yes, there is soap in this game. Cowards use soap.
Correct.
We are better than this.
We are. Who's asking about soap?
No, this is a prefacing warning, because Callus is like, I should get this game. You should. It is wonderful. Get it after MakerCon, buddy. Get it when you don't have things to do, because oh boy, it's a doozy.
You will spend many hours delightfully playing.
Hold on. Will Steam show me how many hours I've put in this thing? 90 hours. Put 90 hours into this game.
I probably have 60. I'd guess, plus whatever tonight.
Yeah. Sorry that y'all saw the mess that is my currently active programs. I cleaned up my desktop just in case you accidentally saw that, because it is a crime. My desktop is a war crime.
I didn't see it. Probably for the best.
Good. It is. I hid all of my notes.
Oh
like,
no, that's darn it.
All my notes and things are. It's
Okay,
basically
now I
just,
should have seen it. Yeah.
It's a note document that just says crimes. But that is my own personal secret. We'll hold on to that. Try to think. Yeah, like, and kind of going back to the plot threads, it's trying to keep stuff focused and not just hit the same, like, you know, oh no, there's another cataclysmic threat we have to stop, like the Avengers button. But having threats that matter and that y'all care about in a significant way. Yes, Liz, be gay, do crimes. Also, I can't believe this is the first time you're chatting in here. You should be more active in the room. Just saying. Strangely Bright is a dear friend and coworker.
Oh, hello.
Oh no, the Meepers my friends have finished their games of Valorant. The Meep signal is coming out. I'd say they're fans, but they're just here to harass, like true fans.
Yeah, let's say.
But yeah, Chris, is there anything you want to ask me to put me on the record?
Or me.
Or Rachel, that's true. Or if you've just been, like, existing and being a dinosaur, or...
And continue to do that.
I hate getting in the sink.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Chris, I will warn you, now that I've done this with Rachel, and it seems to have been fun, and at least I've enjoyed myself, and Rachel seems to have,
yes.
We'll have to do this with you at some point, and we'll play a game that we both own. It'll probably
Destiny.
be Halo. It'll probably be Halo or Destiny. But we'll have to do our own chill and chat, Dungeons, Dragons, and Destiny, or what have you. No, the ding didn't work. The whole ceiling flashed and I didn't ding.
I heard it.
It didn't ding for me.
Oh, that's awkward.
Awkward. It must ding for me. That's what it's about. It's all about me. That's true. I could do Halo. So, actually, here's a very good question. For Rachel and also folks in the chat. At the end of Ashe and Shade,
Okay.
what
what would you... Is there a character you would want to play? Is there a different RPG you would want to play? Or would you want to run something?
I don't know. Hard.
Like, what's your... I don't want to say retirement plan for Thalia. That's a different question entirely.
I mean, I have a backup character. I'm excited to meet her one day.
That was
but I
almost
don't know.
tonight.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's really, I haven't quite imagined yet a time without Ashe and Shade.
What that's gonna be like.
Yeah, 'cause
What do we do with our Wednesdays?
This is my first ever campaign. Like I said, I've never played D&D before this, so this is kind of a, like, I don't know, I don't understand how letting go works. I don't understand. Because I haven't had to.
Chris would like more D&D. Okay.
Yeah.
As my 43 years, I played 3.5. I am wizened. Dark times. I see Burning Wheel, which I'd have to listen. I will do Burning Wheel if I can make streaming on Twitch and playing games. If I can make money doing this enough to like make it my full-time gig, I will do Burning Wheel because it's rad as hell. I just don't have the time to get a doctorate in a different RPG system. Yep, that's it. We're going to Burning Man.
This escalated quickly.
That's where our next in-person game is happening, Burning Man.
Oh god.
We bring our own... Don't worry, the dust only gets into literally everything you own.
No.
Even things you didn't bring.
No, thank you. I will leave. I would... No.
Politely excuse yourself.
Correct.
Or impolitely. You just wouldn't show.
Correct.
I work with a gentleman who has done like logistics and setup for Burning Man.
Wow.
And has brought exhibits and things, and is like, he's done the parking lines to get in will be like 9 hours long to like get a parking spot to get into this spot. Like it is a time. Some of his stories are absolutely wild. Chris, off stream, we'll talk about Burning Wheel because I don't think I could summarize it well in the next 25 minutes.
What do you think it's going to take 25 minutes to finish this?
No, I'm saying like that's how long it would just take forever.
Oh. Gotcha.
There's a wheel and it is burning. You know what? That's more true than you think. Ding.
Where is this arch? Oh.
What? What? Who did that? Who's spraying people? Can't believe we've done this. Oh, no one puts baby in the corner.
Except for put myself there.
Oh, this urinal.
Yeah, I was about to say, any last questions? Get them in now.
Weird. Oh yeah, because we're cruising through this with 2 people. Good lord. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see where Thalia ends up.
I'm very scared for her. Very excited. Very scared. I also did not expect people to really enjoy her. I thought people are gonna be like, all right, she's really boring. I love her. But I was like,
Negative
I feel like
Ghost Rider.
I thought people would think she was really boring and not interesting and just kind of lame.
Why
So,
do you think that? Why would you think that?
Because
What-
she's the
what-
lore part. She doesn't do any of the fancy stuff. She's just kind of there, helping out. Like, she's, I don't. I see that she's special, but like compared to everyone else, I always, and which I know is that's
Com-
the compared to everyone else, that's the killer. I know.
compared to every comparison is the thief of joy, and
Correct.
also the literal half angel is like everyone else is so much cooler than me.
Yes. I thought people would be way more interested in Ronan and Lami, and back when we had like,
Than the girl who literally turns into an avenging angel and has smote
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And also like
Versus the man who murder hoboed a dude, like a tiefling, in like one of the most epic ways in one round. Like,
you. Okay, real talk. I'm a look at look at me. Look at me. Hi.
Hi.
No. You say stop. No. You stop being mean to my friend. You make really cool, well fleshed out characters. And yes, you do the boring lore things. But guess what? Those
they're
boring.
your boring lore things.
Listen, okay, I'm a little biased. Whatever. The lore component. You are the bread of the sandwich, right? Yes, you have spicy mayo lami. Oi. You have spicy mayo lami, and you have the meat of the sandwich, which is Ronin. But without the bread, it is not a sandwich. It is just meat and mayo, and it's really gross and messy to eat with your hands. The boring lore stuff is just as important as everything else, especially for me. I appreciate it because you help keep me on my toes, keep me on track, and sometimes on my toes because I'll say something and you'll be like, and I'm like, oh no, am I wrong? I think I'm wrong. Hold on, let me consult the sacred texts, also known as your notebook.
Your notebook, too.
Mine are the like the unedited notes because I have a lot of stuff in there that I make on the fly decisions for, and I don't always update them correctly. So there are times where I go back and I'm like, oh no, that was in the rough draft that didn't make the final cut. What did I tell these people? Hey, let's do a recap. Actually do any of the things I want to do with this nozzle. But no, I love the crew of people that I play with. And all of your characters are interesting in their own unique ways. And there is so much to love about all of them. And I am glad that the audience, the viewers, the people on the internet who stumble into our YouTube videos late at night, have found something to love in the characters as well. Because like you're the only person who has gotten bits thrown at them because of the character name, right? You had.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's just my character name.
Yeah,
Like,
but the character itself is absolutely truly wonderful, and playing with concepts like the truth, playing with concepts like what is, you know, because in part of your backstory there is the musician who is talking about the different versions of the truth and what the public perceives versus what actually happens. The decision to take away the Threadripper from Lami without telling him, all the way back in season 1, because you knew what it meant. You knew that the knowledge you had was powerful and dangerous, and you made the choice to use that knowledge to protect your friends and the people around you, and also, you know, the general state of the world. But you basically kind of bamboozled Lami into giving up what would have been a very useful and interesting item for him to have.
God about that.
Um,
So So the date, not date.
Oh yeah. Your fan.
I don't know what to do.
Well-
She knows what it is, but she's not smart and like.
Does she not see it that way?
She's the one you're like, you can't be serious, like you didn't like there's no way you didn't realize it, and she's like, no, I didn't realize it. Like, she genuinely is that smart enough to be stupid. Because actually, if you look at her intelligence and wisdom scores, they are not that high.
I always forget your intelligence is not.
My
as
intelligence
high.
is like 11, and my wisdom is like 12. It's not as high as you think. She's really smart with history, but in the moment, and that's I built her that way on purpose. Actually, when I designed her, I was like, she's really good with history, but she absolutely like forgets how that works sometimes in real life.
Right.
So yeah, she does understand, but also like does not understand what will be coming up.
Mhm.
And like she's in like, I know as her PC that, or as her player, that like this poor boy is on pins and needles waiting for her to like call and like set up the time and date and place and everything. And Thalia's like, yeah, I'll get to it. You know,
Oh, yes.
I won't wait that long, but like
please.
I know as her player that she's like, this is not like, oh, I'm gonna like, even though I know it's not a date, I'm gonna like get to it quick so this poor boy isn't like on pins and needles for weeks. Not that she'd keep it for weeks, but like it might take a day or two. Granted, she absolutely has to catch up with her dad and with Robbie, and that takes some time. So
Time and a little bit of precedence, because there's there's a war on.
there's a war going on out there
somewhere. And
Oh,
Andrea
yeah,
isn't here. Yeah, that's
on Terre, actually, you could change that really easily.
that's true. That's
Great
very,
musical.
very true.
Great Comedy 12. Highly recommend.
If you want
If you're into some like unusual musical stuff.
very unusual musical choice, it's real good. If you
There's
want
gonna be
basically like it's what, like 3 or 4 chapters of War and Peace turned into a musical,
70-page excerpt. 70-page excerpt of War and Peace.
turned into a 2-hour musical.
A little more than that.
A little more than 2 hours with some wild instrumental choices.
It's amazing. And tonality choices.
Yes.
Because if you like microtones, go check that out.
Tones, not toes. If you want micro toes, there's other places on the internet for that.
Again, you had to go there.
Yeah, listen. I've been behaving for so long.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Somebody had to ruin it. Might as well be me. Keep your reputations sterling silver.
Something like that.
But yeah, I don't. There was a thought where you're like, yeah, I might make him wait. I might make. What happens if we make this poor boy wait? And I'm like, hold on. I'm not.
Okay,
do I make him into a villain? Like Thalia never goes on the date, and he comes back in time and is like, I want that date. Which is.
Yeah. True like guy.
Hi,
5%.
hi, Andrew. I see.
Lester Andrew here. Need roll for initiative.
I would, but this is not. If you notice, it is Dungeons, Dragons, and Dings, and we, my friend, are here for. That was supposed to be more dramatic. We're here for the. We're here for the ding. There it is.
Chris, when can my backup ruin one of Rachel's towns that she made up? Wow.
Honestly, that was almost the Rachel and I were gonna run through, and maybe that's what we do on another, like we do a one shot with the backup characters that are floating around and just like put them in the world somewhere, do little mini quests and things.
That's the hard thing though, is that you don't know when you're gonna need to pick them up again. Like, you don't know when
Yeah.
you're gonna need to pick them up. So, like, I'm hesitant to put her somewhere because I like. She needs to be somewhere else. I need her to have like.
Well, once she's in the world, right? Once she's in the in the building, this metaphorical building.
I also have not fully fleshed her out, so she's like.
That's okay. But once they're in the world and once they occupy space in it, they can travel. They can get places. Maybe they're wandering adventure types. Maybe they get, or if they're not a wandering adventure type, we know where they came from or what they were doing. And then when we get to meet them, it's like, wait, the last time we saw you, you were in such and suchville. What happened? And they're like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. And then the police arrive and it's awkward.
Why do you sound like you planned that out already?
No. I haven't, honestly, because you haven't fully fleshed out your character, so why would I have, like, I don't know what you want to do with this character.
Sure. Okay, where are we at?
We're just this toilet. Hello, buddy. You might want to move. We're gonna let that, let him sink into that. Chris, yours is very flushed because you're trying to give me an aneurysm by making it so I can't make you roll anything less than like a 19 on a stealth check. That's why your character's flushed out. Chris has told you about that, Rachel, right? His backup.
Artificer with heavy armor that still rolls like
Always
bananas.
rolls. He has a plus 19 on stealth checks and always rolls a straight roll because he has advantage and disadvantage. And he is cute. You are correct.
I'm excited to meet them.
Yeah, me too. If Rona would just die.
Yeah, not on my watch. That was it. You inspired this whole plan to get us fighting so you can kill Ronan because I'm not on my watch. That's it.
Honestly, killing Ronan in Durgavor would be much harder than I'd care to admit. Because with the exception of Slipshard, you guys are the strongest people in town.
Slipshard. That's all? Not.
Yes. Slipshard does not fuck around.
99 and we don't have the 3 checklist?
No, we've got a bunch of like partials. Tile floor, tile floor, tile floor.
What did you do? I did all the tile floors. Oh. You heathen. I left that one to you. That was your responsibility.
Wait, there's another one. Where is it? Nope. What's this? Dirt?
What? This didn't ding?
No. Filth. There's a ceiling panel.
Oh, it's this one.
Light conduits. It's all this ceiling nonsense. Yeah, because it'll be on the inside edge. Great. There's one more conduit and a pair of lights.
Nope, found the conduit.
Yeah, there's the light. So yeah, we're looking up in the top right-hand corner where it'll have like, so the ceiling panel is fully blue, that means it's done, but if there's any white on it, that means it is dirty and must be cleaned. In which case we become the shrimp from Finding Nemo. Cubicle wall. Also, where are the doors?
Door?
I know it's a European bathroom because the doors go floor to ceiling, but like...
It's supposed to... He's turning it into like a nightclub down here.
Terrible.
Yeah. No arguments there.
Hold on. No, that's the one.
I got it.
Keep the door frame. Oh my god.
There we go.
There we go.
Basins. My 3 are clean. It's your 3 that are.
Yeah, I'm the problem.
Oh, Curtis.
I'm gonna be embarrassed, aren't I? I'm gonna be very embarrassed.
Look at this. Look at this. This is you.
Look at.
You could have done this.
Look at what? Look how spotless it is on that side. Not.
Oh, sir.
Listen. I was whinging about the sinks earlier. It's fine.
I did my thing. I did mine just.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And I have less hours than this. Sir.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you find the cubicle wall?
Hold on. I'm checking all the cistern pipes that I touched because I'm pretty sure they're all my problem. Yep, sure it was. All right.
Where's this cubicle wall? Wait.
No. Ooh. Oh, dumb.
It's the weird connecty thing.
We're gonna reinforce this with as much water as we can. Yeah. All right. Wanna see?
Yeah. Oh. What? It says 99, but everything's done. Oh. Now it says 100.
Look at the scrub. This is honestly the part that really makes the game for me, is watching the time lapse back. All right. So yeah, that is a couple of different levels in Powerwash Simulator. This is I have dopamine now. I am
Good.
I am here for it. Do you have additional dopamine?
I do have additional dopamine.
Excellent.
I'm chatting with you and with our lovely chat. And
Yeah.
playing some dings.
Chris, you're up next month for a chat. Assuming Erica doesn't have other plans for TBD, I will call dibs. Yeah, you're up. We'll pick a game. We'll talk about D&D and Ronin and stuff like that. It'll be great. We'll talk, buddy. I see you confused. You're going through all of your question words, and I'm very proud of you.
Again, with the question, you seem hyper fixated on question words tonight.
I just learned what they are. It's fine. I can't remember most of them in ASL, and that's okay. But nevertheless, this has been fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself and hanging out and chatting as we, keeping Wednesday sacred, as it were.
Wednesday sacred.
So, but yeah, thank y'all for hanging out with us, enjoying the vibes. Yeah, if you want more Powerwash and you want to watch Rachel, maybe we'll get Chris. If we get enough people to tell Chris to play this game, he might play it with us. But
maybe we'll bring it back. Powerwash.
Powerwash Wednesdays might be a thing. When Chris and Josh both have scheduling conflicts, we just break out the Powerwash and we go. But
yeah.
Quick volume announcements. We've got Cyberpunk back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Episodes 1 and 2 are up on YouTube if you missed them. 3 is currently in the editing hopper and should be done before Thursday. So that'll be uploaded so people can catch up and watch that. And then I believe we don't have Idiot's Guide for a little while because of schedules. So we will be back next Wednesday to play other games.
I know we're out of Chris next Wednesday.
We are out of Chris next Wednesday.
I believe is what
we put Lamy on the spot.
If we have a job. It might be more Powerwash.
It might be more Powerwash. Who knows what will happen with that. Who knows? Maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll run one of these with Josh, or maybe we'll run the evil PCs or the backup PCs through something. I don't know if Josh has a backup. I don't think he does.
No, he does.
We'll have to figure that out off stream. But in the meantime, this has been lovely. Rachel, thank you for coming on and hanging out and just having a great time.
Thank you for baring your soul. You were answering questions. And,
What? Me answer questions?
yeah.
Bearing my soul. The hardest part of that was trying not to come up with spoilers.
I
But
know.
that's okay.
And I appreciate that you answered questions. Anyway.
I'm not
And
gonna
didn't just say spoilers. Goodbye.
spoilers, darling. No, I'm not River Song. I'm better than that. But anyway, thank you, chat, for hanging out. Thank you, Rachel, for hanging out. We will see y'all fine folks in the future. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.